Chapter 1891, Who else could it be but me? 1891 Who else could it be but me? The island they were sent to was not big. The immortals did not gain anything from their exploration. They quickly gathered at the center of the island. Over there, they made a shocking discovery. A huge obelisk that seemed to be made of gold was radiating with a mild crystalline light. Rank 8 Immortal Gu House, Merit Obelisk. The surface of Merit Obelisk had words appearing on it, introducing the background of this island and also the details of the Paradise Earth True Inheritance. To obtain the Paradise Earth True Inheritance, one had to accept the missions on the Merit Obelisk. They would gain merit points when they complete these tasks. The more merits they had, the more valuable things they could exchange for. If one did not accept this, they could only wait on this island. They could not leave and go to other places in the Grotto Heaven world. Of course, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was merciful and kind. He would not let them leave empty-handed. The immortal materials on this island were specially prepared for them to split among each other. 300 days later, everyone would be transported away. The immortals were shocked. There are immortal materials on this island after all. Those cloud ladder leaf hearts, clear wind grass stems, rooster iron and others were not fake. They were all taken by someone. Damn it, he took literally everything. He left nothing for us at all. It must be that Chu Ying. Where is Chu Ying? Why have we not seen him? I found Chu Ying. Immortal Hua Dai suddenly shouted. The immortals quickly gathered towards her. They saw that on another side of the Merit Obelisk, by looking at where Immortal Hua Dai pointed, they saw words that appeared on the Merit Obelisk. Merit Board Ranking, Chu Ying, 82 merit points. Other than Chu Ying, there were nobody else. This person. Ren Xiaoping gritted his teeth in anger. Right at this moment, Chu Ying's merit points jumped again, from 82 to 93. Next, the Merit Obelisk flashed. The immortals quickly took steps back. The light faded as Fang Yuan appeared. Chu Ying. Feng Jiang cried out. You finally showed up. Tu Tua had bloodshot eyes. He thought about the empty pit that was filled with rooster iron before. Oh, you are awake. Fang Yuan nodded at them. He said in a plain tone. Hey, what is wrong with your attitude? Shen Tan shouted in displeasure. Fang Yuan's indifferent attitude made every immortal furious. Shen Cong Sheng stepped forward with a cold expression and overbearing tone. Tell me, did you take all of the immortal materials on this island? Who else could it be but me? Fang Yuan retorted. He was indifferent about Shen Cong Sheng's overbearing tone. He quickly got to the other side of the Merit Obelisk and quickly browsed through the missions. The immortals were furiously staring at him. This person had taken all the benefits but still acted so arrogantly. Ren Xiaoping said grimly, we have seen the text on this obelisk. All of these immortal materials are arranged by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable for us. Chu Ying, isn't it too much to take everything yourself? You owe us an explanation. Fang Yuan did not even look at him. He pressed his palm at the obelisk and took another mission. Swoosh. White light flashed. He vanished again. The immortals were shocked. Shen Qi shouted in anger, this guy. Where did he come from? He is completely disregarding Lord Shen Cong Sheng and us. Ren Xiaoping spoke with a livid expression. His voice was cold as ice. Investigate him after we go out. Shen Cong Sheng was a rank 8 after all. As the leader of Shen clan, he quickly calmed down and started to mimic Fang Yuan, walking to the Merit Obelisk. Chu Ying is acting so fearlessly. He is merely relying on the fact that we cannot attack him in this paradise. Shen Cong Sheng thought to himself, Chu Ying is merely a rank 7 secluded lone immortal. We can deal with him later. The important thing now is this Merit Obelisk. Fang Yuan's actions earlier were a great example to the immortals here. In the previous life, Miao Ming Shen and the rest came to the obelisk with suspicion. They first distributed the immortal materials on the island before going to accept the missions. But now, Fang Yuan woke up in advance. He acted first and ransacked the entire island. The only thing left to these immortals was this Merit Obelisk. There were many missions on this merit obelisk. Helping the merfolk in South Coast City to excavate the golden lotuses on Silver Lake. Round Fish Island was drying up, it needed wells to be built. Three Stripes tribe lacked medicine, there was a plague spreading, they needed a lot of medicinal herbs. Piper tribe was stuck in a fog, they were asked to lead them out. Aurora Mountain Spirit Spring had an issue that needed to be dealt with immediately. The Gu immortals watched with a dazed expression. Similar to the previous life, they encountered the same situation again. These missions were only described briefly, they were not detailed, the Gu immortals could not gain any useful information. For example, this mission, Three Stripes tribe lacked medicine, there was a plague spreading, they needed a lot of medicinal herbs. What kind of force was Three Stripes tribe? Were there Gu immortals? Were they an ordinary force or superforce? A plague was spreading, what kind of plague was it? There were many kinds of plagues that even rank 8 Gu immortals did not dare to handle. They needed a lot of medicinal herbs, what kind of herbs did they want? Immortal materials? What method did they need to use? Nobody knew. The merit obelisk only had this one line. The immortals were really unaware of the situation. Does that chewing know anything? Someone muttered. The immortals were silent, their hatred, anger, and suspicion towards Fang Yuan intensified again. Even though Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was known for kindness, this was an unknown environment, even the rank 8 Gu immortal Shen Cong Sheng was barred from fighting, the Gu immortals had to be vigilant. And looking at the rewards on the merit obelisk. There was a large amount of immortal materials and immortal Gu that could be exchanged for using merits. Of course, there were some peculiar things here like titles or mortal Gu. Shen Cong Sheng immediately saw one rank 5 mortal Gu, it was called Good Deeds Gu, this was the first time he had seen such a Gu worm. To exchange for a Good Deeds Gu, one needed 50 merit points, it was the most expensive mortal Gu. But the actual effect of the Gu worm was not written on the merit obelisk, Shen Cong Sheng knew nothing about it. However, it had to be unique and special for Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable to put it up as a reward. After the immortals discussed among themselves, they realized that they had to try this to find out. Shen Cong Sheng was the first to act, he quickly walked up to the obelisk to receive his mission. In the previous life, the group of 8 including Fang Yuan and Miao Mingshan came to the merit obelisk, only 10 missions had appeared to them. But now, because there were more people, it seemed that the number of missions had also increased correspondingly. There were many missions, they were slowly taken. Because they did not know anything, there was no fighting or snatching here. Shen Cong Sheng's mission was, Round Fish Island was drying up, it needed wells to be built. As light flickered, he appeared in a desert at the next moment. Shen Cong Sheng's pupils shrunk. He was a rank 8 Gu immortal with dense Dao marks, he could not be transported using ordinary methods. But when he was transported here, it could not be blocked, a grand and mystical power brought him here instantly. As expected of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. Shen Cong Sheng sighed internally, he looked around as his investigative method spread out over the surroundings. Shen Cong Sheng quickly sensed something different, oh, my investigative method works properly here, it is not the same as the starting island. Tens of li away from here, there was a small village in the desert. Shen Cong Sheng stood on the spot, moving his ears as he listened to the conversation of the people in the village. A moment later, he confirmed that he was on Round Fish Island. This island was huge and had many villages, but decades again, vegetation had started to become sparse, right now, a large area desert had already spread around the remaining few villages. Mortals and Gu masters lived in the village, their lives were getting tougher. This means to say, I need to build water wells near these villages. After learning of the situation, Shen Cong Sheng let out a breath of air as he relaxed. This mission was much easier than he had expected. They were all mortal level issues, not at the level of Gu immortals. Even if it involved immortals, he was a rank 8 sound path great expert, he could deal with most issues. Shen Cong Sheng thought about Fang Yuan as he muttered to himself, that chewing only has rank 7 cultivation level but he accumulated 93 merit points so quickly. This shows that the missions must be very easy to complete. Even after knowing the situation, Shen Cong Sheng did not rush to take action. He needed to test many things here. For example, could he ignore this mission and fly out of this place? Could he communicate with the outside world? How many methods could he still use in this situation? Shen Cong Sheng did not interact with the mortals, he used sound path methods and secretly dug wells near the villages. The desertification here was very severe. Shen Cong Sheng had to dig for a long time before he found some underground water deep below. Using these sources of water, he created deep wells around the place. Thinking about it, he used his methods to reinforce the walls of the well. Finally, he made the mouths of the wells and covered them with a thatched roof on top. To think that one day, I would have to do such manual labor. Shen Cong Sheng laughed. He built a total of more than 30 wells. This mission was not difficult at all to this rank 8 Gu immortal. In the process of completing it, Shen Cong Sheng tried many things. He probed the foundation of this paradise to a great extent. For example, he could not leave this place, he was only able to move around this desert area. His communication was also restricted. Forget about treasure yellow heaven, he could not even send anything to Xianxia or Shentan. He was also unable to attack the ordinary villagers, all his offensive methods would fail and he would sustain backlash. He could open his immortal aperture's entrance and take out stuff from within, yet he could not take anything from Round Fish Island to put into his immortal aperture. Shen Cong Sheng also gained a lot of information from these mortals. These people were able to leave Round Fish Island and tour the seas. In the past, there were conflicts among the villages, people had died. In conclusion, Dragon Whale Paradise gave the inhabitants a lot of freedom, while the Gu immortals who received these missions were greatly restricted. As for how they were restricted, Shen Cong Sheng was unable to detect the method, he simply could not deal with it or get around it. This made him feel even more admiration towards Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1892, Analyzing Chewing Together. 1892 Analyzing Chewing Together. After completing the mission, Shen Cong Sheng said, return, in his mind, he was transported to the starting island again. The merit obelisk appeared beside him. He checked the board and saw that on the merit list, his name was there, Shen Cong Sheng, 9 merit points. Shen Cong Sheng frowned. One mission only gave him 9 merit points. This reward was too little, it was out of Shen Cong Sheng's expectations. Looking at this, does it mean that Chewing had already taken about 10 missions before me? Thinking of this, Shen Cong Sheng frowned even deeper now. He looked at those rewards while feeling a chill in his heart. Those immortal Gu and immortal materials that he wanted needed more than 10,000 merit points. There is another problem, immortal Gu are unique, if others get them first, I will lose my chance. Now that Chewing is so far ahead, we have to pick up the pace and catch up with him. Shen Cong Sheng was a rank 8 but he felt a sense of urgency now, everyone else was feeling worse. First Supreme Elder. Shen Tan walked over and respectfully greeted Shen Cong Sheng. Even though he had finished his mission earlier, he did not rush to the second one, he waited at the obelisk. In fact, the group of immortals had all agreed before the first transportation to communicate with each other after completing their missions. Shen Cong Sheng, Shen Tan, Shen Qi, Shen Xiao, Shen Nai He, Ren Xiu Ping, and Tong Hua were the first group, while Miao Ming Shen, Feng Jiang, Immortal Hua Dai, Gui Qi, Tu Tu Tua, and Zheng Luo Zi were the second group. The two sides were distinctly separated. Evidently, Shen Cong Sheng's group was far too strong. However, in a special environment like the paradise, it was inconvenient for them to make a move against Miao Ming Shen and the others, so they had to watch as these enemies banded together as a group. Heaven always leaves a way out. Everyone, this is a great opportunity now, as long as we grab onto it, we will have a chance of dealing with Shen Cong Sheng in the future. We need to work hard, we need to unite for a glimpse of hope. Otherwise, if we work alone, we will not survive. Miao Mingshen encouraged the Gu immortals on his side. Zheng Luozi, Tu Tu Tua, and the rest nodded in agreement. They faced greater pressure than Shen Cong Sheng, because they felt more urgency to complete missions and raise their strength. Even if they were safe inside the Dragon Whale Paradise, after 300 days, they would be transported out and would need to face Shen Cong Sheng. Tell me, what have you all discovered? Miao Mingshen spoke. All of them spoke about their findings one by one, without any concealment. There was even a lot of speculation that they made. Everyone's discoveries were similar to Shen Cong Sheng's. Miao Mingshen concluded in the end, the restrictions placed on us by the paradise can actually be seen as a kind of protection for us, at least for the time being. Shen Cong Sheng is unable to lay his hands on us. The amount of merit points we received after completing a mission was only 9 at most, it did not exceed 10. It seems that the reward for each mission is between 1 and 10. But I have a feeling that this merit obelisk will undergo more changes in the future. Zheng Luozi and Tu Tu Tua looked at each other. Zheng Luozi hesitated but still asked, Brother Miao, since you can sense the exact location of the blue dragon whale, and bring us to it, is this place completely new to you? Miao Mingshen smiled bitterly, Brother Zheng and Brother Tu, if I said that I have no idea why I am able to sense the location of the blue dragon whale, would you believe me? Several years ago, information about the blue dragon whale began to appear inexplicably in my mind, but at first it was very vague. These bits and pieces of information had only gotten clearer recently. I finally realized that it was the blue dragon whale calling to me. If I really knew these arrangements and had any shortcuts, would I not use them? Would I continue to face Shen Cong Sheng's threat? When we were outside, Shen Cong Sheng attacked us. If I knew it was an illusion, I would have tried to die long ago. Friends, my words are all true, there is no deception at all. Zheng Luozi and Tu Tu Tua saw Miao Mingshen's earnest expression and nodded, we believe you. Gu He suddenly said, speaking of which, I do recall one thing. Previously, when he was being chased in the sea, Chu Ying was being attacked by a sound blade, but his speed soared and he took the initiative to bump into an immemorial thunder phoenix, after which he got struck by its lightning and died. Yes, I saw that too. Feng Jian also added. It's strange to actively seek death, it seems that Chu Ying really knows something about this place. Tu Tu Tuo's eyes burst out with bright light. Previously, Fang Yuan did not know that dying by the hands of Shen Cong Sheng would also be accepted. To be on the safe side, he still chose the method of death from his last life. As a result, he exposed a flaw. It was like Shen Cong Sheng, who avoided Tong Hua earlier with his sound blades. Miao Mingshen's group discovered Chu Ying's peculiarity, it was the same for Shen Cong Sheng's group. Miao Mingshen. At this time, Shen Tan walked in front of the group and took the initiative to approach Miao Mingshen and the others. Behind Shen Tan were Shen Cong Sheng, Ren Xiuping and the rest. There is no need to be nervous. Shen Tan smiled, we are not here to find trouble with you all this time, but rather to seek cooperation. Cooperation. You guys are really shameless. Who was it who wanted to kill us earlier? Feng Jiang and Immortal Hua Dai said with displeasure. Miao Mingshen, however, stopped them and looked at Shen Cong Sheng. Shen Cong Sheng nodded slightly and said indifferently, this was my decision. It is true that I was the one who made the move to attack you before, but let's put ourselves in each other's shoes and think about it, if you were me, would you let me off? It's not that I don't want to kill you all, but with the situation as it is right now, then I can only cooperate with you. I swear on the reputation of my Shen clan, I promise that even after we leave this dragon whale paradise in the future, we will not do anything to you, but rather let you all leave. And all of you will need to tell me everything you know about the information you have regarding this place. The reputation of Shen clan. Miao Mingshen pondered, the immortals around him all looked slightly moved by this proposal as well. Shen Cong Sheng was the first supreme elder or Shen clan, the promise of a righteous path figure held a lot of weight, and now he was staking the reputation of the entire Shen clan, he could be trusted to a high degree. Of course, the best way was for both sides to set an alliance agreement. Zheng Luozi and Shen Nai he were both rank 7 Information Path Gu immortals, they were unable to use information path methods here because the paradise restricted them greatly. You all can think about it, this is your only chance. If you miss it, don't regret it if you go out of the dragon whale paradise in the future. Shen Tan threatened with a smile. Miao Ming Shen and the rest became increasingly silent. The merit obelisk had made it clear that they would only stay here for 300 days, and once the time limit was up, they would be sent out. At that time, they might have to face Shen Cong Sheng. Shen Cong Sheng's guarantee was certainly not completely assuring and he could go back on his word. But with their own lives at stake, Miao Ming Shen and the others would certainly not let go of any possibility of survival. Miao Ming Shen suddenly smiled and nodded, I accept your offer. I'll cooperate with you and tell you everything I know. Shen Cong Sheng also smiled, good, a wise man submits to circumstances. I will let you live, go ahead and speak. Miao Ming Shen's smile turned bitter, there's actually nothing to say. He repeated the things he had said to Tu Tu Tua and Zheng Luozi earlier. Shen Tan was furious, you're saying that you actually don't know anything? Are you lying? Do you think our Shen clan is easy to fool? Shen Cong Sheng, however, had a look of deep consideration. He felt that Miao Ming Shen's words were probably true, lies could be told, but actions often could not deceive others. On the way here, Miao Ming Shen's actions were all seen by Shen Cong Sheng. He did not seem like someone who knew the details of the dragon whale paradise. Gu Qi interjected, we analyzed it earlier, it seems that Chu Ying is very suspicious. He might indeed know some inside information. The immortal's eyes shined with bright light. Ren Xiaoping smiled coldly, aren't you stating the obvious? That person had actively sought death before, he came here and was the first to awaken, ransacking the starting island of all the immortal materials. And look at the merit obelisk, he's got nearly 100 merit points, Ren Xiaoping suddenly became silent. At this moment, white light flashed as Fang Yuan appeared again. His mission was completed, his merit points went past 100, reaching 102. The immortals gathered in a group, looking at Fang Yuan who was at the obelisk. He had appeared right when they mentioned him. Fang Yuan also looked at the immortals. Wow, the atmosphere here was great. Fang Yuan was a little surprised, but he did not feel anything strange about this. Gu immortals were all exceptional talents, these Gu immortals were very perceptive and knew about benefits and harm, they prioritized their own gains. As long as Shen Cong Sheng stopped being haughty, it was possible that they would cooperate as Miao Ming Shen and the rest would worry about the future. Shen Tan smiled and took the initiative to come over, approaching Fang Yuan, brother Chu Ying. He took the initiative to greet, his attitude was much better compared to when he spoke to Miao Ming Shen. In the current situation, Fang Yuan's value was also clearly much higher than Miao Ming Shen. But before he could send any invitations. Scram! Fang Yuan glanced at Shen Tan before he turned around and walked away. Shen Tan's smile froze on his face, the corners of his lips twitched as anger rose in his heart, he was about to shout but his shoulder was patted by someone. It was Shen Cong Sheng. Shen Tan quickly held down his anger, he did not dare to shout rashly, he only stared at Fang Yuan with a furious expression. Little brother. Shen Cong Sheng chuckled, we can cook. Scram. Fang Yuan said one word with a calm tone, he interrupted Shen Cong Sheng without hesitation. Everyone was shocked. Shen Cong Sheng's eyes widened a little, he was dumbfounded at this situation. How long had it been since anyone scolded him like this? He was the first supreme elder of Shen clan, an Eastern Sea rank 8 grade expert, who would dare to scold him in his face. Even normally, when people like Song Chi Yuan had a conversation with him, they would still keep a composed attitude when they conversed with each other. But Fang Yuan scolded him without restraint. Plain and straightforward. Miao Ming Shen and the rest looked at Fang Yuan with immensely shocked expressions. This is a rank 8 Gu immortal, the first supreme elder of Shen clan, don't be so reckless. If you don't relent now, what will happen when you get transported out of here 300 days later? At this moment, everyone did not know whether to admire Chu Ying's courage or shame him for his stupidity. After Fang Yuan finished scolding, he immediately disappeared, he had taken another mission and left again. The remaining Gu immortals stood as they stared at the merit obelisk blankly. Shen Cong Sheng suddenly laughed lightly, breaking the silence, this Chu Ying is very courageous. I am looking forward to seeing his courage after we leave this place. He had a smile on his face, but his eyes were flashing with furious sparks. His killing intent had appeared. Miao Ming Shen, who in the world is this Chu Ying and what is his background? Shen Tan turned around and shouted aggressively. He had an overbearing attitude. Guo Qi and the rest were unhappy as they stared furiously. Miao Ming Shen sighed deeply and shrugged. If I tell you that I'm not sure of his origin, would you believe me? Hee hee. The corners of Shen Tan's mouth twitched and he laughed dryly. The look on his face showed his current thoughts. What sort of lie was this? If he did not know about Chu Ying's background, would he invite this person to explore Paradise Earth's true inheritance? Chu Ying, oh Chu Ying, I am going to die because of you. Miao Mingshen smiled bitterly, but he did not give up. He decided to throw this problem over to Ren Xiaoping. The reason I trusted Chu Ying was because of Ren Xiaoping. Brother Ren, explain it. Is there a need to hide the matter anymore? Miao Mingshen's words made everyone's gazes gather on Ren Xiaoping. Ren Xiaoping shook as he felt an immense pressure. He had to explain everything that he knew. The immortals learned about the reason behind Chu Ying's involvement now. Miao Mingshen continued to explain, actually, I have not interacted with Chu Ying much. I only invited him to an auction in the past. Back then, Tong Hua and Tu Tu Tua were around as well. Shen Cong Sheng turned his gaze towards these two. Tu Tu Tua and Tong Hua spoke one after another, explaining all that they knew. Shen Cong Sheng heard their words as he frowned deeply. There was a lot of information, but it was all useless. All that was known was already known, while all that was not known was still unknown. They had nowhere to start and no way to target him. This Chu Ying is not a simple person. Shen Cong Sheng had a feeling, but he was still confident. He is just a rank 7 transformation path Gu immortal after all. He is not my match. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1893, Saving Xia Lin Again. 1893 Saving Xia Lin Again. Light flickered and faded at once. Fang Yuan appeared on a small island in the sea. I am here again. Fang Yuan smiled lightly. He accepted the mission to collect earth trench black oil at the nearby sea of this island. This was the first mission he accepted when exploring the Dragon Whale Paradise in his previous life. He was most familiar with it. Many changes have happened in the Dragon Whale Paradise compared to the previous life. Not only did the Blue Dragon Whale's location change, there are more Gu immortals here now. The missions have also increased in numbers. This black oil mission only appeared after I completed 10 or so missions. In the previous life, he had used this mission to save the mermaid girl Xia Lin, using her as his pawn to have her become the saintess of the Merman City. He slowly found his way to Regret Sea and found Regret Gu. Once Regret Gu flew to him, the venerable method activated, sending Fang Yuan to the Stone Lotus Island in the River of Time. Using that, Fang Yuan got around Heavenly Court's assault and inherited a Red Lotus true inheritance. After rebirth, Fang Yuan designed a more optimal plan for himself. During the battle in the River of Time earlier, Fang Yuan destroyed 6 immortal Gu houses from Heavenly Court. He destroyed the River Suppression Lotus Ceiling Formation and killed many Gu immortals. Only 9 Spiritual Fairy and Feng Jiu Gu escaped. As the price, that Stone Lotus Island was destroyed too. Without the Stone Lotus Island, Regret Gu's venerable method could not activate. This time, Fang Yuan intended to take down this Dragon Whale Paradise. Regret Gu was only part of the bigger plan. The entire island was under the effect of Fang Yuan's investigative killer move. It had no secrets at all. The island was quite ordinary. There were not many resources here. It had a fishing village and a low-quality spirit spring. There were a few Gu masters in the village, but most of the people were mortals. Fang Yuan did not enter the fishing village immediately. He went into the sea first. In the sea, a group of weaving sea spiders were hunting. Fang Yuan got around them and dived deeper. When he got close to the earth trench, he found a group of seashell sharks swimming around. Fang Yuan had great strength, but he did not want to act abruptly. He only concealed his presence, arriving at the black oil. Black oil was an immortal material. It was dangerous to Gu masters. Once they came into contact with black oil, food path Dao marks would be carved in their bodies. This was a huge problem for Gu masters. On one hand, the conflicting Dao marks would make the oil-collecting Gu masters experience a fall in strength. Oil-collecting food path Gu masters were just too rare. On the other hand, Gu masters had mortal bodies. As time passes, they cannot help but become affected by the black oil. The black oil and the earth trench tangled and weaved together like huge pythons. They were almost still, but if one observed closely, they would see that the oil was moving slowly in the sea. Fang Yuan activated his method. Everywhere he went, black oil moved like water and spread out over a wide area. I remember that this is the location. Fang Yuan split some of the black oil apart, but he did not find the blue-scaled mermaid Xia Lin. Fang Yuan's heart sank. It was possible that his rebirth created some changes. Xia Lin's life might have changed, she might not have come here. It's more likely that she's nearby. The time now is quite early compared to the previous life after all. Fang Yuan thought about it. He did not give up immediately. He used his methods to move away the nearby black oil. There were many things in the black oil. There were sea beast corpses and different ores. Blue-scaled mermaid Xia Lin was among them. She had fainted. Her face was not the same as Xie Han and Mo, but their disposition was very alike. A complex gaze flickered in Fang Yuan's eyes. He breathed out lightly as a bubble surrounded Xia Lin. Xia Lin was saved. Her eyes started to move. She barely opened her eyes before fainting again. When she woke up, she realized that she was lying in a waterhole. The sky was wide and clear. There was bright sunlight. The broad leaves of a few large trees cast a dense shadow, like an umbrella, covering her entire body. The breeze caressed her like a lover's gentle hand, making Xia Lin feel cozy. Didn't I get engulfed when collecting black oil? Xia Lin's memories slowly surfaced. That's right, I seem to have been rescued. I saw a vague white figure on the dark ocean floor. Her body was still limp and weak. Xia Lin could barely raise her upper body. She looked around but saw no one. Who saved me? She became very confused, looking down at the waterhole that she was half lying in. There was a pool of clear water in the waterhole. It was crystal clear. Her blue-scaled fish tail was shining with the reflection of the light in water. This must be the arrangement of my savior. Xia Lin thought. She could not help but feel warmth in her heart. This water was not seawater, it was the most appropriate water for a weakened merman. You are awake. Just at this moment, the tree leaves were moved aside as Fang Yuan walked in. Did you save me? Xia Lin stared at Fang Yuan, who wore white clothing. She felt a hint of familiarity. You are very lucky, I happened to find you in that situation. Fang Yuan smiled slightly. Xia Lin was extremely grateful and was about to get up to express her gratitude, but was stopped by Fang Yuan's outstretched arm. Your body is still too weak. Eat something. Fang Yuan extended his hand and a trace of green wind flew around to the top of the tree and picked a fruit that resembled a coconut. The green wind held the fruit and flew to Xia Lin's face. The green wind was like a pair of scissors, moving around and opening the shell, revealing the delicate bright red flesh inside that was like a pomegranate. Xia Lin took a small piece and put it in her mouth. The flesh was tender and juicy, it rolled down her dry throat and into her stomach. There was a warm feeling in her stomach. The fruit was very delicious. Xia Lin's eyes instantly glowed. She was so hungry that she took out a few more chunks and put them in her mouth, swallowing them whole. It is very delicious. She could not help but exclaim, but then she saw that Fang Yuan kept staring at her with his gentle gaze. Her face instantly flushed red as she stammered, "May I ask for your name, benefactor? I will definitely repay the favor of saving my life." Fang Yuan laughed. This was a simple action, you do not need to do anything. In the future, stay away from the black oil, it is very dangerous there. You were lucky to have met me this time. Xia Lin's expression turned dark. She was in a huge debt because of her grandfather's funeral and had to risk collecting black oil to pay off the debt. To think that not only did she fail to get black oil, she even nearly died from this. But even if I survive, I'll be corroded by the black oil and will die soon. Sigh, how can I pay off my debts and repay this benefactor? Xia Lin had a kind nature, she felt troubled over this. At this time, Fang Yuan's gentle voice resounded in her ears. "Oh, right, you had black oil corrosion earlier, but it is not a problem anymore. I've already healed the injuries on you without any lingering after effects." Ah! Xia Lin was astonished and stared at Fang Yuan with wide eyes, dumbfounded. This Gu master in front of her could actually heal the problem from black oil corrosion. This was truly remarkable. Fang Yuan nodded at her. "Little girl, you are young, don't have such rash thoughts. You still have a long journey ahead of you. Go ahead and eat something. After you regain your strength, come with me. I came here to do something." Oh. Xia Lin was still in a daze. Fang Yuan smiled and turned around to leave. Xia Lin watched him pass through the forest and disappear for a long time before she reacted and began to continue eating the fruit in her hand. The flesh of the fruit was delicious and juicy, the windy breeze brushed her face, she was lying in pure water, her heart was filled with warmth and tranquility. Don't tell me this is just a dream. As she ate, her tears flowed silently down her face. She was nothing more than an ordinary, poor mermaid girl. Reality was cold and harsh for her before this incident. The only warmth in her life came from her grandfather who took care of her. Her grandfather who was her only kin had died. Xia Lin was all alone now, her heart was hollow, her only goal in life now was to complete her grandfather's water burial. In the customs of merfolk, a water burial was the final journey, it would bring peace to the dead. But a water burial was expensive, Xia Lin paid a huge price for it. As the girl ate, she sobbed soundlessly. Fang Yuan stood outside the forest, looking at the sea, he knew the situation inside well. But he did not go in, he gave the girl ample time to adjust her mood. In this life, he had a grand plan for Dragon Whale Paradise. Xia Lin's series of missions were not the most important. For Fang Yuan to obtain Regret Gu, he only needed to enter Regret Crying Sea. Back then, he had made use of Xia Lin's chain of missions to enter Regret Sea area. But other than this series, he had many other ways to get there. In the previous life, Fang Yuan focused on getting Regret Gu while Miao Ming Shen and the rest focused on doing missions. The more they did, the more they found out. The atmosphere then was much better than now. Miao Ming Shen and the rest interacted and left behind information path Mortal Gu at the Merit Obelisk, sharing their gains with everyone without asking for compensation. Their collective findings and gains all became Fang Yuan's current wealth. Thus, Fang Yuan had a deep and comprehensive understanding towards the Merit Obelisk and Blue Dragon Whale. Xia Lin's missions were created by Fang Yuan himself, it required luck and used a lot of time. The truth was, after some time, when mid-sized missions appear, there would be a few useful ones to get into Regret Crying Sea. In the previous life, when these missions appeared, Fang Yuan already had Xia Lin as his pawn. Because Miao Ming Shen and the rest were showing desire towards these missions, Fang Yuan did not compete with them. But now, since I took the mission and found Xia Lin, it means that I can use her again. This pawn is very useful, as long as I replicate the success of my previous life, I can indirectly control Merman's sacred city. Controlling this force will be quite helpful to my plans ahead. Fang Yuan thought to himself. Benefactor, I've kept you waiting. A moment later, Xia Lin floated out of the forest. She recovered some of her strength and did not want to keep Fang Yuan waiting. A white cloud supported her lower body, 3 feet away from the ground, helping her to move forward on land. Don't call me benefactor, my name is Chu Ying, people call me Master Chu. Fang Yuan smiled. Master Chu. Xia Lin said. Let's go. Fang Yuan brought Xia Lin as they moved to the fishing village. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1894, Going Down, Going Up. 1894 Going Down, Going Up. Fang Yuan brought Xia Lin to the small fishing village and met the village head. The moment they met, he soul-searched directly in front of his face. The entire fishing village was in a trance for a while, and then recovered without suspicion. Fang Yuan collated this information and compared it to his previous life. he found that nothing had changed in the small fishing village. Like in his previous life, he was still using his identity as a traveling Gu master to contact these mortals. First, he challenged the village's Gu masters and defeated them easily, then he taught them how to refine water shell Gu and gave them the recipe. The villagers were all very grateful. Fang Yuan then took them to the bottom of the sea to practice using these water shell Gu. He even taught them some healing methods to alleviate the corrosion of the black oil. To completely heal from the corrosion of the black oil, one needed at least rank 4 Gu worms. The Gu masters in the small fishing village were simply not even close to rank 4. The things Fang Yuan taught them were things that they could do. During this process, Fang Yuan focused on teaching Xia Lin. In the previous life, he had only given her water shell Gu, but now, he wanted to nurture her properly. He used wisdom path methods to directly hand methods over to her mind. At the same time, he corrected many of her mistakes. Fang Yuan did not stay in the small fishing village for long, and when he left, the entire village fell to their knees. Xia Lin wanted to follow Fang Yuan, but he stopped her and said with deep meaning, "This isn't the end of our connection, we will meet again in the future." Xia Lin was helpless and could only watch tearfully as Fang Yuan disappeared with a flicker of light. Fang Yuan returned to the merit obelisk once again. His merit points had risen by 10. The initial missions on the merit obelisk were small missions, the rewarded merit points ranged from 1 to 10. This time, Fang Yuan collected black oil and taught the villagers in the small fishing village to sustain a livelihood. He had completed the task perfectly. At this time, Shen Cong Sheng and the others had all been transported away to complete their respective missions. There was only one person at the merit obelisk now. It was Miao Mingshen. Miao Mingshen was staring at the 4 sides of the merit obelisk which had moving words and characters. He was very patient. He faintly felt that there was a mysterious connection between himself and the merit obelisk. The peculiar feeling was extremely hidden and also very weak. But he had no idea how to grasp onto this opportunity. A sharp light flashed across Fang Yuan's eyes as he saw this. The secrets involving Dragon Whale Paradise were very deep and mysterious. What method did Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable use to restrict Gu immortals? Fang Yuan had no way to find out. His method did not leave any traces. It was as if it were a naturally occurring phenomenon, like how there were males and females among people, and how the sky had a sun and a moon. Gu immortals could not make a move on each other or the inhabitants of this small world. But there were differences and discrepancies in this rule. For example, Fang Yuan had soul-searched the mortals in his earlier mission. He even gave a lot of knowledge to Xia Lin through wisdom path imparting methods. Was that not considered making a move on the inhabitants? Of course it was. But Fang Yuan had no ill intentions, he was trying to help them. Thus, he was not restricted at all in his actions. But once he had any evil thoughts, these methods would not be usable, he would even face backlash from using these killer moves. Or for example, the collection of black oil in this mission. The excess black oil was all kept in the sovereign immortal aperture by Fang Yuan. Normally speaking, other than the immortal materials on the starting island, Gu immortals could not take the resources of the other areas for themselves. But Fang Yuan had taken the black oil near the island to complete his mission. By reducing the number of food path Dao marks there, it would allow other natural resources to grow. This was a good thing for the island's environment on the whole, so it was not restricted. Not only did Fang Yuan complete the mission, he also collected a portion of the black oil as profit. This mission to collect black oil was obviously much more profitable than the others. There were many missions on the merit obelisk, but there were also differences in missions, whether they were superior or inferior. In the previous life, Miao Mingshen and the rest had a lot of findings. These were all Fang Yuan's exclusive information now. Fang Yuan slowly approached the merit obelisk. His footsteps interrupted Miao Mingshen's thoughts as he turned around to look. His pupils shrunk as he thought, "It's Chu Ying." Fang Yuan smiled, "Brother Miao, your connection with the merit obelisk is too weak. This connection is mainly used to find this place, it will not be of much help to you from now on. I would advise you to actively complete your missions and accumulate more merits. Fang Yuan's polite attitude surprised Miao Mingshen. He had seen with his own eyes when Fang Yuan said "scram" at Shen Tan and Shen Cong Sheng. He was quickly attracted to Fang Yuan's words as he felt some shock. He actually knows about the connection between me and the merit obelisk. This is a secret I have never revealed to anyone else. How did he know? Unless he is like me and can also sense the location of the blue dragon whale. Or maybe he can't sense its location, but has other forms of connections instead. Miao Mingshen looked at Fang Yuan, feeling that this person was getting increasingly unfathomable. He was filled with doubts. He opened his mouth to ask questions, but wisely closed to keep it shut. Fang Yuan acted so arrogantly in front of Shen Cong Sheng, it was useless to try to force him. If he wants to tell me, he will definitely take the initiative to speak. If I try to ask him, I will not get anything I want. Miao Mingshen sighed internally. Fang Yuan passed by as his finger pointed at a certain line of text on the obelisk. He suddenly said, "You can take this mission, it is quite suitable for you. Complete missions and accumulate merit points. It is not simply about doing superficial good deeds, it is better to teach a man to fish than to fish for him." Miao Mingshen shook internally. He gulped as he said two words, "Thank you." "You're welcome." Fang Yuan smiled. Giving Miao Mingshen some guidance was not just a casual action. On one hand, it was to sow discord among these people for his own convenience, and on the other hand, he was also trying to make some arrangements to affect Eastern Sea. The secret regarding Miao Mingshen's ability was only announced in the previous life after a lot of futile attempts at finding out. Regarding the truth behind it, many immortals had reliable guesses. Miao Mingshen was quite popular in the lone immortal world of Eastern Sea. If he was forced by Shen Cong Sheng into a corner, it was likely that Qi Si ancestor or Wu Shui could recruit and take him in. Fang Yuan did not take a mission. Instead, he went to the other side of the merit obelisk and exchanged for a title. In an instant, his merit points that exceeded 100 were reduced to single digits, plummeting from the first place to the last. When Miao Mingshen saw the change on the merit board, his eyes sparkled and his mind was filled with huge suspicions. Chuing spent 100 merit points, what exactly did he exchange for? Fang Yuan took his mission and vanished again. Miao Mingshen immediately came to the other side of the merit obelisk to check the list of things they could exchange for. But how could he find out easily? There were too many rewards that were priced at 100 merit points. It was also possible to have a combination of rewards to expend 100 points instantly. Miao Mingshen felt a sense of curiosity. He immediately realized that Fang Yuan's action had a deep meaning. It must be beneficial to him, otherwise he would not have given up his advantage like that. Did Chuing deliberately express goodwill earlier so that I would help him hide this information? Another thought appeared in Miao Mingshen's mind. But soon he shook his head. Fang Yuan's merit points were right there. It was something that could not be hidden. Soon, the other Gu immortals would discover it. With a flash of white light, Fang Yuan was transported to the bottom of the sea. The seawater was murky, sand was churning, and a giant salamander was causing chaos. This giant salamander had a smooth body without a single scale. Its head was wide and large, its body was stout and flat, its limbs were very thick and short, and its tentacles were like tiger claws. Its claws and teeth were sharp, its gills were glistening with firm tiger whiskers. This was a desolate beast, Tiger King Salamander. The Tiger King Salamander rampaged and created shocking waves that affected the peace of the land. The mission that Fang Yuan took on was to suppress it. Fang Yuan did not rush to take action, he scouted first. Soon, his brow furrowed slightly and a peculiar expression appeared on his face. He could not find out the reason for the Tiger King Salamander's rampage. There was nothing abnormal about its body or mind, but it was acting manically and unpredictably, wantonly destroying its surroundings. Not only that, it even self-mutilated. It had clearly gone insane. Attempting to attack the Tiger King Salamander, Fang Yuan discovered that this desolate beast's battle strength had soared to the level of an ancient desolate beast. This is the same situation as the one that Miao Mingshen's group faced in the previous life. Fang Yuan sighed internally. In his previous life, he had only completed the missions involving Xia Lin. There were few missions and he did not encounter this. After trying it in this life, he found that according to his knowledge and vision, he could not even see through this peculiarity. The Tiger King salamander was actually very beneficial to the environment. It could swallow salt and sand to purify the seawater, making it crystal clear and saline, producing extraordinary natural resources. A Tiger King salamander is often the core of a pure and clean sea. This pure seawater could be drunk directly. If it was possible, Fang Yuan did not want to kill this Tiger King salamander. If he could pacify and calm it down, Fang Yuan would be able to reap a large amount of merit points. But right now, it was obviously impossible. Fang Yuan had no choice but to take action and kill it. The corpse of the Tiger King salamander acted as the extra profit for the mission and was kept in the immortal aperture. Ren Xiaoping returned to the starting island again. And a group of people had gathered near the merit obelisk. Seeing his arrival, a Gu immortal of Shen clan, Xianxia, said to him, "Congratulations, Brother Ren, you're now at the top of the merit board." Ah! How is that possible? Ren Xiaoping did not believe it at first, but after witnessing with his own eyes, he was surprised and delighted. His name was really ranked first, even Shen Cong Sheng was ranked second. Shen Cong Sheng had also returned and was standing in front of the obelisk. His expression was a little dark. Ren Xiaoping carefully looked at Shen Cong Sheng. He was thrilled that he had defeated the rank 8 Gu immortal, but at the same time, he was also a little worried. Shen Cong Sheng cast his gaze towards Ren Xiaoping. Ren Xiaoping quickly bowed his head and cupped his fists. "Lord." Shen Cong Sheng nodded. "Ren Xiaoping, in your opinion, what exactly did Chuing exchange that caused his own ranking to slip to last place?" Ren Xiaoping was dazed. Only now did he realize that Fang Yuan was at the bottom of the ranking. He quickly calmed down and furrowed his brows. Indeed, Chuing would rather give up the lead to spend his merit points. It is certain that the thing he exchanged for was very useful to him. If it could be helpful to him, it would naturally be advantageous to the others as well. But what exactly would it be? The group of immortals had been discussing for a while now. With a flash of white light, Fang Yuan appeared in front of everyone once again. At the same time, his ranking on the merit board skyrocketed, once again rising to the top. Chuing, 98 merit points. At once, the immortals became tongue-tied. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1895, Mid-sized Missions. 1895 Mid-sized Missions. Small-sized missions gave 1 to 10 merit points. Meanwhile, mid-sized missions gave 11 to 100 merit points. Fang Yuan exchanged for a good person title. It allowed him to accept mid-sized missions. Mid-sized missions were Gu immortal level. The Tiger King salamander that Fang Yuan dealt with this time was a rank 6 desolate beast, but its battle strength had reached rank 7. This mission's difficulty was way beyond the limits of a mortal. The higher the difficulty, the greater the reward. Thus, I earned over 90 merit points this time. Fang Yuan realized, the reason why I did not get 100 is because I took away the Tiger King salamander's corpse. If I left it behind, the Dao marks on the corpse would spread out and elevate the foundation of the surrounding environment. Fang Yuan had done this purposely. He was curious about the reason why the Tiger King salamander went on a rampage. Thus, he brought this corpse with him, planning to research on it later. In the previous life, Miao Ming Shen and the rest encountered this situation many times. They researched together but did not find the root cause. This time, Fang Yuan wanted to try it himself. The group of immortals looked at Fang Yuan and the merit board. Their expressions and emotions were similarly terrible. They had worked so hard to complete their missions, each one gave 10 merit points at most. Fang Yuan, however, got over 90 merit points from one mission. This comparison was truly infuriating. Even though small-sized missions were simple, they wasted a lot of time. Mid-sized missions was much more efficient in terms of merit points. Looking as Fang Yuan approached the merit obelisk, some of the Gu immortals felt jealous, some were curious, while others felt despair. At this rate, Fang Yuan was taking huge steps forward while they were crawling like snails. How could they ever catch up to him? He would only leave them in the dust as time passed. Hua Dai looked at Miao Mingshen, wanting to ask Fang Yuan about this, but he shook his head at her. Shen Cong Sheng looked over at Xianxia. Xianxia had no choice, he had to force a smile and walk towards Fang Yuan. Brother Chu. He cupped his fists, speaking in an earnest tone and polite attitude, just name the price, as long as I can afford it, I will satisfy you. Fang Yuan smiled lightly, you want to know how I obtained so many merit points? Indeed. Xianxia cupped his fists again, I hope brother can teach us. Don't worry, with my Shen clan's foundation, we will not disappoint you. Furthermore, you are not just getting my friendship, you will get the friendship of Shen clan. Earlier, Shen clan tried to force Fang Yuan but he was indifferent and acted extremely arrogantly. Xianxia changed his tactic and tried to exchange for it using benefits instead. It was a wise move. Fang Yuan laughed, sure, use a true inheritance of your Shen clan to exchange for it. Shen Cong Sheng's eyes shined when he heard this. He did not expect Fang Yuan to agree. He could not help but ask, what true inheritance do you want? It is up to you. If you don't want to give an inheritance, immortal Gu are fine too. Fang Yuan said nonchalantly. Shen Cong Sheng's lips twitched, he wanted an immortal Gu. Dream on. He thought about it and tossed out an information path mortal Gu. Fang Yuan received it and looked through the content. There was a transformation path Gu immortal true inheritance. It was rather incomplete, the truly valuable parts were still with Shen Cong Sheng. Fang Yuan clicked his tongue as he tossed the mortal Gu back to Shen Cong Sheng, another one. Shen Cong Sheng received the information path mortal Gu and erased the information inside, injecting a new wave of content. Of course, this was incomplete as well. Fang Yuan received it and nodded, giving the information path mortal Gu back to Shen Cong Sheng, another one. Shen Cong Sheng received the information path mortal Gu and looked at Fang Yuan, saying grimly, Chu Ing, you want to look at so many of them, how much content do you want to see? Fang Yuan's expression turned solemn, don't worry, I, Chu Ing, act according to my principles, I am not someone who goes back on my words. Those who treat others as fools are the real fools. How about this, give me a portion of constant wave sound and I will tell you the reason why I gained so many merit points. Fine, I'll believe you once. Shen Cong Sheng did not hesitate, taking out a conch from his immortal aperture and tossing it to Fang Yuan. This conch was only the size of a palm, and was itself a desolate beast. There was a wave sound stored in the conch. This wave sound was a sound path rank 7 immortal material, a specialty product of Shen clan. It could produce sounds for years without ever stopping. Fang Yuan inspected it and found nothing suspicious. He placed this immortal material into his sovereign immortal aperture. He looked at Shen Cong Sheng and smiled, then I'll tell you this secret. Do you want me to tell you alone, or do you wish to make it public? This time, it was Shen Cong Sheng's turn to look solemn. But he only hesitated for a moment and then smiled, what is there to hide? Please speak directly. As expected of an old expert who had been leading Shen clan for many years. Once he said that, even the Gu immortals on Miao Mingshen's side developed some good feelings towards Shen Cong Sheng. Miao Mingshen coldly snorted in his mind, no agreement can be made here, Shen Cong Sheng can't restrain Chu Ing at all. Chu Ing is trying to sow discord. Since he can tell Shen Cong Sheng alone, he can tell others in the future as well. Shen Cong Sheng knows this, so even if he is unwilling, he has no choice but to make it public. Good, Lord Shen Cong Sheng's magnanimity is admirable. Fang Yuan turned around and placed his palm on the surface of the obelisk. Words related to mission started to vanish before emerging again. But these new words were different from before. Thousand Soul Fog appeared on White Light Mountain, the living creatures were in dire need of help to clear it up. In Seahorse Sea area, coral seahorses fought each other, a number of seahorse kings were rioting and needed to be suppressed. The formation on Gathering Separation Island had not been repaired for years, causing serious disruptions to the lives of the islanders. It needed to be fixed. Fish Round Island lacked seawater, one had to make it rain for 3 days and nights there. The Gu immortals were stunned. These missions were clearly different from the previous ones, such as the Thousand Soul Fog, which was a Soul Path rank 7 immortal material. It was quite famous. Another example was that every coral seahorse was a rank 5 wild beast, while seahorse kings were at least desolate beasts. Xianxia watched with glimmering eyes as he sighed deeply. These are missions worthy of Gu immortals. Those small-sized missions earlier were limited to the mortal level, they were simply weak in comparison to these missions. Xianxia copied Fang Yuan and placed his hand on the obelisk, but his expression turned to confusion. Why can't I accept these missions? Of course not. I have used up 100 merit points in order to accept these missions. Fang Yuan smiled. The immortals quickly focused their attention on his words. But Fang Yuan kept his mouth shut. Xianxia became anxious, he cupped his fists at Fang Yuan. Please do teach us, Brother Chu. Fang Yuan looked at him with a slightly mocking expression with raised brows. Why should I tell you? Xianxia's expression froze. We made a deal earlier. I know. You guys asked how I acquired a large amount of merit points. I have completed the transaction and told you the reason. It was because I received these missions. As for how to receive these missions, that is a different question. Fang Yuan said. The group of immortals were dumbfounded. Shen Cong Sheng's expression turned dark while the Shen clan Gu immortals looked at Fang Yuan with anger in their eyes. Xianxia was stunned before he laughed again, only this time, it was clearly mixed with anger. Brother Chu is really impressive at doing business. A single answer alone earned you a rank 7 immortal material that is unique to my clan. Fang Yuan nodded. Shen clan's constant wave sound is unique in the world. I really profited from this transaction. But I did not lie to you, I did not give you false information either. I, Chu Ying, am not such a person. Fang Yuan showed a demeanor of having a conscience and bottom line. It made all of the immortals here seethe with anger. Shen Cong Sheng's anger accumulated. He was a Grand Righteous Path rank 8, he was actually being toyed by this rank 7 lone immortal Chu Ying who had no fame. How could he let this pass? After we leave Dragon Whale Paradise, I am going to deal with you properly. Shen Cong Sheng swore in his heart, but he smiled and laughed heartily without showing any displeasure. He clapped. Chu Ying, very impressive. You obtained the constant wave sound through your wittiness, that was your ability. Don't worry, why would my Shen clan be so petty over a small matter? Come, let's make another deal. Tell me what you want in exchange for this information to get the mission. The group of immortals looked at Fang Yuan with eyes that could not help but reveal envy. It was just so easy to earn immortal materials like this. But from Shen Cong Sheng's perspective, his clan was affluent. 1 or 2 rank 7 immortal materials in exchange for precious information was not a bad deal. But Fang Yuan shook his head. I am not going to sell this information, you all can try it yourselves. Shen Cong Sheng glared. Chu Ying, I hope that you will think about it clearly. Fang Yuan, however, ignored him and disappeared again with a flash of white light. Shen Cong Sheng was livid, he was not given any face at all. Chu Ying, don't let me catch you outside. Shen Cong Sheng swore in his heart. This was the first time he had seen such a rank 7 Gu immortal, he completely disregarded him. Fang Yuan needed to maintain his advantage on the merit board, this was useful to his plan of conquering the paradise. As for Shen Cong Sheng and the rest, I don't believe that you can stay united. Fang Yuan smiled coldly in his heart, his plan to sow discord did not work earlier because it was a minor action, but this time, he dug a pit, he was not afraid that Shen Cong Sheng would not jump in. In a way, Fang Yuan needed external help. It was necessary to split up this huge group. He could complete the mid-sized missions independently by himself, but after the mid-sized missions, there were large-sized missions too. This kind of mission often required different Gu immortals to cooperate with each other and work together to complete it. Although Fang Yuan had quite a few Gu immortal subordinates hidden in his immortal aperture, it was useless. In this Dragon Whale Paradise, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerables methods restricted this. It seemed that only those Gu immortals who had passed that test outside and were sent to the starting island while asleep were eligible to enter and leave this place, and also receiving and completing missions. After Fang Yuan left, the atmosphere at the merit obelisk turned heavy. Because Shen Cong Sheng had made a rather forceful request, he wanted the surrounding Gu immortals to spend their respective merit points to exchange for those contentious rewards. Shen Cong Sheng was betting that one of these rewards would be the one Fang Yuan exchanged for earlier. Since Fang Yuan did not tell him, he was going to test it personally. Miao Ming Shen and the rest were unwilling to do that, but they had no choice. They had to make considerations for the future and could not offend this rank 8 sound path grade expert. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1896, Killed Instantly. 1896 Killed Instantly. Shen Cong Sheng stared intently at the surface of the merit obelisk. Although he did not show it, he was indeed feeling anxious at the moment. As the first supreme elder of Shen clan, he was in a high position of power. As a rank 8 grade expert, he could be said to be standing at the peak of Gu cultivation. However, facing the Paradise Earth true inheritance, his foundation was simply too shallow and insignificant. Fang Yuan was able to take on mid-sized missions. He had a huge advantage in getting the Paradise Earth true inheritance. Shen Cong Sheng was forced to do everything he could to catch up with Fang Yuan's footsteps. Although he had come here with a different purpose, the Paradise Earth true inheritance was right in front of him. He would not give up without trying his best to get it. Therefore, even though Shen Cong Sheng knew that Fang Yuan had the intention of sowing discord, he still forced the other Gu immortals to exchange for the various rewards. In order to try to ease the emotions of the other Gu immortals, Shen Cong Sheng also took out various immortal materials from his own immortal material to compensate them. However, it was clear that these immortal materials were far less valuable than the Paradise Earth true inheritance. The immortals were forced to comply with Shen Cong Sheng's orders due to his authority. Their inner resentment naturally grew deeper and deeper. Shen Cong Sheng had lost the hearts of the people, and to make matters worse, these rewards exchanged by the group of immortals were not the one that allowed him to take on mid-sized missions. The rewards on this list are a bit too numerous. Excluding those rewards exchanged before, there are still 3 most likely rewards left. Shen Cong Sheng felt a headache. Let's take a gamble. He knew that time could not be wasted. After a moment of deep deliberation, he used his merit points to choose and exchange for one of them. At the next moment, Shen Cong Sheng's expression turned dark. This is not the one. He gritted his teeth, feeling very dejected. He had lost the gamble. It was really bad luck. As such, they had spent almost all of their accumulated merit points, but what they obtained, although helpful, were not very significant in this situation. Don't tell me it is this good person title. Shen Cong Sheng looked at the merit board, sighing deeply to himself. It was useless to say anything now. All he could do was to hurry up and accumulate more merit points, then continue to exchange for rewards. But before that, I still need to appease these Gu immortals. Shen Cong Sheng turned to look at the immortals. They had similarly unhappy expressions. Shen Cong Sheng was quite eloquent. After saying some words, he pulled out a batch of immortal materials and gave them to the immortals. Although the immortals received these immortal materials, their expressions only changed slightly. In this dragon whale paradise, Shen Cong Sheng had rank 8 battle strength, but he could not do anything to them. This key was the most important foundation for Shen Cong Sheng's declining influence. Swish swish swish. The tides were rising and falling, the fishy sea breeze blowing on his face. Fang Yuan stood in the clouds, overlooking the sea market below him from the sky. The sea market was a place where people sold and exchanged for cultivation resources, usually having fixed locations. Not long ago, Fang Yuan disguised himself as Qi Sea ancestor to hold the Eastern Sea banquet. In a way, it was a supersized sea market. It almost involved all of the Gu immortals in Eastern Sea. The same type of sea markets existed in Dragon Whale Paradise, and there were quite a few of them. This sea market that Fang Yuan observed was centered around a small island, with numerous fishing boat-like Gu houses surrounding the island. For more than half of each year, this island would be flooded by seawater, so this sea market was not open all year round. Because of its advantageous location, the island sea market became an indispensable trading area. Even if it was not open for half the time each year, as long as it opened, the surrounding Gu masters and forces would flock to it. Fang Yuan was very familiar with this sea island. He had come here in his previous life. In his previous life, Xia Lin had been framed on this island by an unscrupulous merchant. The mission Fang Yuan had happened to take was to punish this merchant severely. He saved Xia Lin as a result. In this life, Fang Yuan also took the mission and came here, but it was a mid-sized mission, completely different from the previous time in terms of characters involved. The sea market was extremely lively. There was a huge crowd of people moving around, having both humans and merfolk. Come, take a look, this is a superb crystal coral. There are 3 Gu House river boats left, quickly buy them before they are sold out. Purchasing grand soil, I will buy as many as you can sell. Xia Lin appeared. She moved on the deck, observing the goods at the stalls as she made her way towards the core island. Unlike before, she was energetic and her eyes had life in them. After receiving Fang Yuan's guidance and teaching after a life-and-death situation, she had improved drastically from the inside out. Fang Yuan activated his investigative method, surveying the surrounding 100 li. As soon as Xia Lin appeared, he found her. Fang Yuan did not approach Xia Lin, but continued to scout the interior of the island, as well as the depths of the sea. An immortal-level formation gradually appeared in his perception. Fang Yuan could not help but praise it in his mind as he looked at it. The structure of this immortal formation was very profound. It was a formation that was mainly earth path and water path. Its role was to sustain the island, managing the surrounding sea currents and improving the environment of the entire surrounding sea. But now, this immortal formation was damaged. The earth path portion was eroded while the water path portion was not changed much. There was originally a balance of earth path and water path. Now, with the weakening of earth path, water path became more overbearing. The island was able to remain open the entire year in the past, but because of the damage to the formation, it would be submerged in water for half of each year. Fang Yuan wanted to repair the formation now. Fang Yuan's abilities, however, were still somewhat lacking. His formation path attainment level was not bad, being at Grandmaster. But to use the natural Dao marks to create a formation, he would have to be a great Grandmaster. At the same time, his water path attainment level was at Grandmaster, while his earth path attainment level was only Master. And the problem was that this formation needed fixing in the earth path aspect. This formation is not the work of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, but a certain formation path Great Grandmaster instead. Fang Yuan analyzed. If it were Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable himself, it would definitely give the style and size of a formation like Regret Crying Sea. In the previous life, Fang Yuan and the others had discovered that they were not the first batch of Gu immortals to come into the Dragon Whale Paradise. There were also predecessors who had entered here before to receive missions and earn merit points. Evidently, the formation Fang Yuan saw was the work of a certain predecessor. There's no need to hurry, looking at the time, there should be some gain at Wushuai's end soon. While Fang Yuan continued his surveillance and transmitted the information he detected to the time path clone for deductions, he also stealthily descended and mixed in with the crowd, following after Xia Lin. Xia Lin entered a gambling den. The door had 3 words written on it, Golden Jade House. It was clearly a high-grade gambling den among the mortals. This gambling den had tens of huge rocks in the hall. Behind the hall were many rooms with an assortment of rock-dissecting Gu worms for the customers to enjoy using. I'm here to return the loan. Xia Lin took out an information path mortal Gu. Several months ago, her only family member, her grandfather, died. Merfolk sea funerals were very expensive. In order to bury her grandfather, she had to borrow primeval stones. To repay the debt, she had to take a risk and collect black oil, almost dying in the earth trench as a result. Fortunately, she met Fang Yuan and was saved miraculously. Not only that, her strength even rose drastically thanks to his help. Just like in her previous life, Xia Lin obtained gather oil gu from Fang Yuan. Her efficiency in collecting oil increased, she quickly gathered a huge amount of primeval stones from selling oil. The one who attended to her was a scarred merman. After taking this information path mortal gu, he smiled deviously, "Lass, you must have seen wrongly, our agreement is not like this." Xia Lin was slightly stunned. "What do you mean?" The surrounding gu masters knew about Golden Jade House's usual tricks, they saw this and shook their heads. Sigh, another gu master has fallen for it again. Xia Lin talked to the other party and finally reacted. "You guys are shameless, you changed the agreement details, our contract was 10% interest, but you raised it to 60%. Xia Lin said with a furious expression. The scarred merman's face became solemn, he looked at Xia Lin with a vicious gaze. "Young lady, you cannot spread false news like that. Are you trying to ruin our reputation? This is detrimental to our business. Who would come to our shop after this? Can you bear the cost of our losses?" "Screw you. Even if I die, I will expose this shop's evil deeds." The scarred merman changed his tone as he said eerily, "Die. You are too naive, sometimes, being alive is worse than dying." A sharp light shined in Xia Lin's eyes. "You forced my hand," she shouted as she attacked. Swoosh! An explosion was heard as a torrent was shot out. The scarred merman did not expect that in this situation, an innocent and naive lass would dare to attack him, a rank 3, in his territory, the Golden Jade House. The scarred merman was caught unprepared, he was washed away by the torrent, crashing into the wall as many decorations shattered. The commotion was huge, the gu masters who were quietly choosing and dissecting rocks all came to watch. A large number of eyes turned to look at Xia Lin and the scarred merman. What happened? What happened? The scarred merman was lying in rubble, he looked at Xia Lin with extreme disbelief and anger. He wanted to get up, but in the end, he only managed to raise his finger. After that, he collapsed and stopped breathing. Dead, he died. Oh heavens, who is this girl? She actually killed a merman in one move. He was a rank 3 gu master. The crowd went into a commotion, the gu masters were deeply shocked. Xia Lin was also quite surprised by this, she was only rank 2 now, but the gu worms that Fang Yuan gave her were all incredibly useful, they could form very powerful killer moves. After Xia Lin used these gu worms to form a rank 2 killer move, she killed a rank 3 gu master in one hit. The mermaid girl was stunned. She was dazed on the spot. Fang Yuan smiled as he transmitted to her. Master Chu. The mermaid girl heard his voice as her eyes shined, she spoke with deep joy. But Fang Yuan did not show up, he instructed the mermaid girl on how to find an excuse to take over the entire Golden Jade House in a dignified and justified manner. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1897, Clone Enters Dream. 1897 Clone Enters Dream. Jianwen Blessed Land. The palace was deep and had a magnificent number of structures. The shade of the trees was thick, the summer cicadas sang. The long closed doors of the palace were opened, all of the Featherman girls along the way fell to their knees to greet the master of the palace, Xianxia. Xianxia's expression was unsightly, she was filled with gloominess. She had tried all sorts of methods in her closed cultivation, but none of them could allow her to advance from a rank 5 gu master to a rank 6. All methods had been exhausted, leaving only one path in front of her, to purchase the rank 6 level second aperture immortal gu from Fang Yuan. As the first supreme elder of Xia clan, Xianxia originally had rank 8 cultivation, but in the ambush battle of the River of Time, she was captured by Fang Yuan. Although she was lucky to survive, her rank 8 immortal aperture had already been taken away by Fang Yuan. After releasing Xianxia, Fang Yuan took the opportunity to sell his second aperture gu and extort the southern border super forces in another way. As a result, Xianxia was given the opportunity to cultivate again, she grasped it like a drowning man who was surviving by hanging onto a wooden plank. Xianxia had now regained rank 5 cultivation, but she was stuck at the most crucial step. Advancing to Gu Immortal. Her countless attempts to ascend to Immortal had failed. Ugh. Xianxia sighed, coming to terms with reality once and for all. Prepare fresh water for me to clean up. Additionally, spread news that I have come out, ask Second Supreme Elder and Third Supreme Elder to come here. Xianxia instructed the Featherman maids beside her. However, after waiting for an hour, Xianxia did not see the arrival of Second Supreme Elder or Third Supreme Elder, but rather they transmitted that they had important matters to handle. They were unable to come. These two old scoundrels. Xianxia cursed in her heart, a chilly feeling assaulted her heart. Although she was also clear that sooner or later there would be such a day, when it actually came, she still felt a chill in her heart. To think that she had once been the center of authority, she made all sorts of sacrifices for Xia clan, she was the decision-maker of all political affairs, but now she was just a rank 5 cripple who had to endure other people's disrespect. In the past, Xia clan's Second Supreme Elder and Third Supreme Elder had to look up to her as their leader. In fact, their rise to their current status was all because of Xiaxia's help of nurturing. It looks like, these old scoundrels are trying to gain independence. Xianxia looked at the empty hall as she sighed in her heart. There was not much anger in her, but more of a sense of helplessness and sadness. Could she say that they were ungrateful? Not entirely. In fact, Xianxia understood the choice that these Xia clan Gu immortals made. Because of her, Xia clan had already been extorted too harshly by Fang Yuan, their inventory was greatly depleted, even though they had painstakingly accumulated so many years of foundation, it was like them looking after Fang Yuan's assets now. Even if Xianxia could regain her cultivation, she would have to start all over again, the resources expended in the long run would certainly be a huge amount. Should they give the resources to Xianxia or keep it for themselves? After the initial panic and uncertainty, Xia clan's Gu immortals began to have an unsaid agreement with each other. Xiaxia's First Supreme Elder title was now just a hollow status. Her rank 5 cultivation level could not allow her to intervene in Gu immortal level situations. Xianxia pondered for a long while before she took out an information path Mortal Gu and gave it to a Featherman made for her to bring to the Second Supreme Elder. But in the evening, the reply from Second Supreme Elder infuriated Xianxia once again. Even the title of the First Supreme Elder has no value anymore. Xianxia gritted her teeth. It turned out that she had proposed a deal with the Second Supreme Elder in the information path Mortal Gu. Xianxia was willing to hand over her own First Supreme Elder title to the Second Supreme Elder. He would be able to rightfully sit on the throne of Xia clan's highest position of authority, while only having to pay an amount of cultivation resources. But Xia clan's Second Supreme Elder did not accept it, he politely rejected her offer. Evidently, he had reached an agreement with the Third Supreme Elder, they were going to make Xianxia their figurehead and still let her continue to be the First Supreme Elder. Xia clan's situation was not the same as Ba clan. Ba clan's Ba Shi Ba encountered the same situation as Xianxia, but he was already kicked off his position as the First Supreme Elder, the newly advanced rank 8 Gu immortal Bada had taken the role instead. Meanwhile, Xia clan's Xia Zhao and Xia Yuan were only rank 7 in cultivation level, they both cultivated Earth Path. Years ago, when Xianxia first came to power, she was not a rank 8 Gu immortal yet. In order to take control of Xia clan, she had nurtured Xia Yuan and Xia Zhao, to use them to contest against Xia clan's existing factions. Now that Xiaxia's cultivation level had fallen to rank 5, while Xia Yuan and Xia Zhao still had their authority, they started having different ideas. But as far as the righteous path was concerned, they did not dare to make a move on Xianxia, who had shown great kindness to the two of them. They would rather let Xianxia have the position of First Supreme Elder than to lose their own reputation. Xianxia knew that her influence over Xia clan had slipped to a dangerous point, and it was slipping faster and faster. She had to become an immortal as soon as possible, otherwise, she would be completely pushed out of the circle of Xia clan's higher-ups. However, there was no way for her to break free from this predicament, as she did not have any capital to negotiate or transact. Xiaxia's situation was not an exception, but the norm. The attitudes among the southern border righteous path forces had started to change. The most important person causing this change was naturally Wu clan's Wu Yong. He had been relying on Heavenly Court and his own political skills to elevate his own reputation and influence in Southern Border's righteous path. The downfall of Xianxia and Ba Shi Ba, these experienced rank 8s, gave him an incredibly rare opportunity. Despite the appearance of Lu Wei-yin, the virtue paradise behind him included a large number of mushroom men and not just humans. This gave them a natural political shortcoming in Southern Border's righteous path, which Wu Yong grasped firmly and took full advantage of. Lu Wei-yin did not pose an obstacle to Wu Yong, so his influence in the Southern Alliance was growing by the day. There was already a faction within the Southern Alliance, its voice was becoming louder and louder, with Wu Yong being the main advocate. He advocated that the Southern Alliance should actively confront Fang Yuan and stop accepting his blackmail and extortion. Compromising with a demon like Fang Yuan would only fuel his arrogance. The Southern Border Righteous Path forces had almost gotten back most of their hostages, they had also been hurt by Fang Yuan's blackmail and extortion. Thus, more and more Southern Border Gu immortals responded to Wu Yong's call with an increasingly supportive attitude. What Wu Yong exploited was precisely the hatred that the Righteous Path Gu immortals felt towards Fang Yuan. Under the moonlit night, Fang Yuan's pure dream reality seeker physique body traveled alongside Qi Chuyu. A secret transaction involving dream realms had just ended. Lord Qi, we should part here. Fang Yuan's dream path clone smiled. He was a temporary clone made from the dream realm, he had Gu immortal cultivation and would self-detonate into a dream realm after reaching the time limit. Qi Chuyu cupped his fists and sighed, Fang Yuan, it's not that I am making things difficult, it's just that the risk of this business has become bigger. Now that the situation is so tense, if we get exposed, my Qi clan's reputation will be completely ruined. The pure dream clone snorted coldly in his mind. Qi Chuyu proposed to increase the price, no longer satisfied by the previous price. The given reason was that Southern Border's righteous path was becoming more and more aggressive in dealing with Fang Yuan, Wu Yong gathering a huge force in Southern Border's righteous path. This reason was of course bullshit, the real reason was that Qi Chuyu used this excuse to raise the price because he wanted to get even more dream path research results. Fang Yuan wanted more dream realms, but now that it was getting harder and harder to extort Southern Border's righteous path, the secret deal between Qi Clan and Fang Yuan had become his main source again. Qi Clan controlled the Dream Realm formation, one of its kind in Southern Border. Fang Yuan could only steal a portion of the Dream Realms by working with Qi Clan. I will explain this matter to my main body. The Dream Path clone left this sentence and directly flew away. Qi Chuyu stayed where he was and watched Fang Yuan's Dream Path clone disappear into the sky, his face turning cold as he left with a soft snort. It was not like he did not think of attacking the Dream Path clone. But he lacked Dream Path methods to deal with a Dream Path Gu immortal. Furthermore, he was also worried that Fang Yuan's main body was likely to be around here waiting in ambush. Fang Yuan himself was far away in Eastern Sea, but for this transaction, Wu Shuai had already arrived nearby with his dragon palace. If Qi Chuyu were to make a move, he would certainly not gain anything. The pure dream clone soon returned to Dragon Palace. This was a temporary clone with immortal level cultivation, but after reaching the time limit, it would fall apart and turn into a dream realm. We cannot continue with Qi Clan's business anymore, unless we allow him to raise the price. The Dream Path clone said coldly. He opened his immortal aperture and let out a few dream realm bodies. This batch of dream realms is likely the last batch we can get. It could not be helped. Fang Yuan and Qi Chuyu did not make any kind of binding agreement. Qi Chuyu purposely raised the price by using the excuse of Southern Border's attitude. The main enemy is in front of us. After this hurdle, this trivial Qi clan is nothing to worry about. Wu Shuai opened his mouth. Right now, he could not make a move yet. The more times he made a move, the more likely Heavenly Court would notice the true relationship between the Wu Shuai clone and Fang Yuan's main body. The killer move Dreamy Light Smoke had to be used on Heavenly Court. Exposing it on Qi Chuyu was truly a huge waste. It would be like killing a chicken with a bull's knife. Rather than dealing with Qi Clan, it would be more efficient to attack the formation directly. In fact, with Fang Yuan's main body staying in Eastern Sea, it would be possible to deal with Qi clan with just the strength of Wu Shuai's forces. But if he revealed these trump cards in advance, Heavenly Court would likely be so happy they might laugh in their dreams. Small greed ruins big plans. Moreover, by allowing Southern Border to preserve its strength, it could also cause more trouble for Heavenly Court in the future. Directly destroying the enemy, although straightforward and easy, sometimes does not reap the greatest benefits. For example, Fang Yuan had released Xianxia and Ba Shiba. They had already started feeling ostracized and neglected in their respective clans. Fang Yuan would secretly sponsor them in the future. Their current situation could be said to be caused by Fang Yuan. But besides Fang Yuan, they had nobody else to rely on. Fang Yuan, on the other hand, needed these people to act as his eyes and ears, planting them in the righteous path forces of Southern Border, so that he would always maintain a certain amount of influence over Southern Border. It was just that at the moment, Fang Yuan still lacked some means to restrict them. Regarding this, the Time Path clone was already working night and day to make deductions. Boom boom boom. With a series of muffled sounds, the temporary pure dream reality seeker physique bodies exploded one by one, turning into lumps of dream realms that fused with each other. These were all Earth Path dream realms. Wu Shuai sat on his dragon throne in the palace, his soul left his body and entered the dream. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1898, Accumulated Soil Mountain. 1898 Accumulated Soil Mountain. Heaven and earth were gloomy, dark clouds loomed overhead, endless thunder roared and resonated. Scarlet lightning flashed countless times in the dark rolling clouds of smoke, black clouds swirled like vortexes, lightning balls descended from the center of the swirling vortexes one by one. These lightning balls were strangely shaped, resembling porcelain products, as large as a water tank, and glowing with red light. Grand Tribulation, Red Porcelain Lightning Ball Tribulation. The lightning balls smashed down and erupted with crisp explosions. On the ground, an immortal Gu house silently suffered from the damage caused by the explosions of the lightning balls. Large pieces of debris continued to fly into the air, before turning back into the corpses of countless Gu worms. Inside the immortal Gu house, Wu Shuai endured the sound of rumbling thunder in his ears and inspected himself first. He found that he had turned into an Earth Path Rank 8 Gu immortal. He had wide fingers and a large stature. His battle robe was already covered in damage. And not far from him, there was a female immortal standing on the ground. Her face was pale and her aura was not only weak but also a little strange. She was using a certain light path healing killer move, and thus was covered in a layer of holy white light. But on her face, exposed arms, legs and feet, dark path Dao marks that resembled ink lines appeared. These dark path Dao marks were so dense that they reached the extent of a rank 9 immortal material, creating Dao mark light. Gu immortals could see it with their naked eyes. The female immortal had clear rank 8 cultivation level. A light path rank 8 Gu immortal who had such a quantity of dark path Dao marks, it made Wu Shuai very surprised. And more peculiarly, the female immortal's dark path Dao marks were still transforming. Not only did they increase in quantity, their arrangements and positions were rapidly changing too. The female immortal grunted, the killer move activation was successful, the halo around her stabilized while the dark path Dao marks were also temporarily suppressed. The female immortal was sweating profusely. She opened her weak eyes to look at Wu Shuai, smiling bitterly. I can't be saved. This is my strongest healing method, but it can only temporarily suppress the injury. When the time limit of the killer move is up, the injury will explode with terrifying power. Oh Zhengyang, my most beloved, I can no longer accompany you. You have to live well. The female immortal said, tears flowing down her cheeks. No, there must be some way, there must be. You must never give up hope. This peaceful soil-heavy mountain fortress of mine is made up of all the immortal Gu I have. It can be considered to be number 1 in defensive power in all of history. We still have time, you have to keep working hard, I will always be there for you. Wu Shuai shouted with tears in his eyes. This was the natural development of the dream realm, he could not control it. But after this conversation, Wu Shuai gained control of the body. Peaceful Soil Heavy Mountain Fortress. Never heard of it. Wu Shuai's eyes shined with bright light. Using the conversation earlier, he analyzed and searched for clues. He inspected his own immortal aperture. There was quite a bit of white lychee immortal essence in his immortal aperture. There were also a large amount of mortal goo, but no immortal goo. Like what Xingyang had said, he had used all of his immortal goo to construct this rank 8 immortal goo house, Peaceful Soil Heavy Mountain Fortress. Which means to say, my biggest reliance is on this damaged immortal goo house. Wu Shuai had a realization. He started to try controlling this immortal goo house. Peaceful Soil Heavy Mountain Fortress had a complex structure. It used 100 million goo worms, among which there were more than 20 immortal goo. Even Wu Shuai could not tell what the core immortal goo were at a glance. These immortal goo were cleverly positioned and had a mysterious relationship with each other. The design of the goo house was as profound as a towering mountain range spreading across the entire countryside for 10,000 li, connecting heaven and earth. The mountain range had overlapping layers of intertwined mineral veins. Wu Shuai was like a mortal goo master mining the mountain range. He had to excavate it layer by layer to uncover the minerals he wanted and figure out the connection between the ore veins. Just analyzing this immortal goo house itself is a huge difficulty. Furthermore, I need to rely on this immortal goo house to defend against the red porcelain lightning ball tribulation. Wu Shuai's heart sank. He knew that this exploration was going to fail. As expected, the following developments went as he had predicted. Red porcelain lightning balls continued to explode as Wu Shuai tried to use his immortal goo house and slowly fix it. But it was useless. His understanding towards this immortal goo house was too low. Even if he wanted to fix it, he had no idea where to start. Eventually, the red porcelain lightning balls destroyed the immortal goo house. Wu Shuai and the female immortal became the sacrifices of the tribulation's fury. After leaving the dream realm, Wu Shuai started to heal himself. This time, Fang Yuan's main body was exploring Dragon Whale Paradise. Before leaving, he had made ample preparations and arrangements. Not only did he pass the dream path goo worms to Wu Shuai, he even gave a large number of guts goo. With guts goo in his hands, Wu Shuai's injuries were not a problem. This dream realm exploration was different from the Dragon Palace dream realm. Wu Shuai could explore it multiple times until he succeeded. Second failure, third failure, fourth, fifth. After 8 tries, Wu Shuai finally gained a clearer understanding of this Peaceful Soil Heavy Mountain Fortress. Even though he could not completely fix this immortal goo house, Wu Shuai was already able to repair it sufficiently to negate the red porcelain lightning ball's damage. Black clouds swirled in the sky. The red porcelain lightning balls gradually thinned out until they completely stopped. But within the black clouds, a second grand tribulation was starting to brew. The female immortal sighed, "It was my fault for not listening to you. I went to search for the location where reckless savage demon venerable died. In the end, I caused this curse to occur and lead to an unceasing wave of calamities and tribulations. This is my just deserts. Xingyang, leave, I do not want to implicate you." On the female immortal's body, the halo had noticeably dimmed. The dark path Dao marks were tightly arranged, like pieces of black thread sewing up wounds, covering the female immortal's skin and face. Compared to before, the female immortal's aura had weakened a lot, and at the same time, it became more peculiar. Not only were the light and dark path Dao marks intertwined, an Adam's apple was also growing in her throat. Wu Shuai had yet to analyze the situation of the female immortal when a drizzle started to occur in the sky. Even though it was a small rain, it was bone-chilling. There was a cold feeling that could freeze the soul. The heat and smoke caused from the lightning balls earlier vanished entirely without a trace. Howl, howl, howl. The ghostly cries became louder and louder, before it resounded throughout the entire area. Gray threads fell from the black clouds in the sky, extending towards Wu Shuai. Wu Shuai's heart sank. He recognized this tribulation. This is the Grand Tribulation, Ghost Spirit Ice Silkworm Tribulation. A grand tribulation occurring right after the previous one. It seems this will not end. Wu Shuai had to resist these silky threads forcefully. The red porcelain lightning balls were powerful and destructive, while these ghost spirit silk threads were soft and troublesome. Wu Shuai had no offensive methods. The immortal goo house Peaceful Soil Heavy Mountain Fortress that he was relying on was also unfamiliar to him. He could not find any offensive methods that could be used. Thus, Wu Shuai watched as these threads extended towards him and slipped in through the cracks and holes of the immortal Gu house. Wu Shuai tried to defend against them, but peaceful soil heavy mountain fortress was already completely infiltrated. It broke apart after resisting for some time. The silky threads wrapped around the female immortal while also attacking Wu Shuai, turning the two of them into solid cocoons. At the next moment, Wu Shuai was chased out of the dream realm. This time, he suffered heavy injuries. He saw darkness in front of him, he gulped and felt that his throat was dry, he almost fainted. Failing at the ghost spirit silk thread tribulation stage has caused tens of times the damage as before. Wu Shuai smiled bitterly. In this situation, he had to recuperate first before trying again. This injury would only be mild if it happened on Fang Yuan, it would not be severe, he could definitely explore it again. But Wu Shuai was not the same. Wu Shuai's soul foundation was only at 30 million man soul, even though it rose later as he cultivated in Eastern Sea, he could not compare to the main body. Wu Shuai was a dragon man who cultivated enslavement path, soul path cultivation was just a supplementary method. The stronger his soul foundation, the more soul path Dao marks he would have, and the more it would restrict his enslavement path development. But Fang Yuan's main body was the sovereign immortal body, it had non-conflicting Dao marks, so he could cultivate soul path alongside all his other paths. After resting sufficiently, he went in again. Failing time and again, challenging it continuously even after failure, Wu Shuai was in a difficult position. He did not have the time path clone's deduction abilities, even though he had Dragon Palace, dreamy light smoke was not useful for exploring dream realms. The most reliable method, other than unravel dream, was the ability to recover rapidly using Daoist Gu. As he slowly explored it, Wu Shuai finally had some breakthroughs and gains. After learning the general information of peaceful soil heavy mountain fortress, Wu Shuai gained the 3 killer moves of this immortal Gu house. The first was called Accumulated Soil Mountain, the second was called Peaceful Burial, and the third was called Heavy Soil Comeback. The one that was an eye-opener to Wu Shuai was the first killer move, Accumulated Soil Mountain. This killer move was very special, it did not have offense, movement, healing or other aspects. It was an earth path killer move that had formation path effect. Using this killer move, the Gu immortal could stack earth path Gu worms to allow them to form an immortal Gu house. This could be done even if the Gu immortal using the killer move had zero attainment in formation path itself. Because of this killer move, there was this peaceful soil heavy mountain fortress. Gaining this killer move was also the same as gaining the foundation of the immortal Gu house, peaceful soil heavy mountain fortress. It was no wonder Wu Shuai could not find any core immortal Gu. This immortal Gu house's core was not an immortal Gu but the immortal killer move Accumulated Soil Mountain. Thus, I only need to activate this killer move and add earth path Gu worms into this immortal Gu house to rapidly fix it. After understanding this, Wu Shuai started to repair peaceful soil heavy mountain fortress while enduring the onslaught of the ghost spirit silk thread tribulation. Boom! The moment he repaired it, the female immortal self detonated. The force of the explosion was greater than the grand tribulation. Not only was Wu Shuai killed instantly, the entire immortal Gu house was torn to shreds. I see, I still have to take care of this female immortal. After understanding this point, Wu Shuai entered the dream realm once again. Immortal killer move, Peaceful Burial. Using this method, the female immortal was temporarily sealed, her injuries were suppressed, she was receiving treatment from the immortal Gu house. After Wu Shuai fixed this immortal Gu house completely, the third grand tribulation appeared. Purple stars fell from the sky. This was a tribulation that fused poison path and star path, rotten poison purple star tribulation. Purple stars continued to descend and land on the immortal Gu house, causing holes to form due to corrosion. Wu Shuai did his best to endure it, but even as he failed many times, this grand tribulation never stopped. The third grand tribulation seems to be unceasing. This is not normal. Don't tell me. After many failures, Wu Shuai had a flash of inspiration. He tried to unseal the female immortal. Without peaceful burial suppression, the female immortal went into a state of nearing death again. Zhengyang, if a next life exists, I want to meet you again. Goodbye, my love. While Wu Shuai defended against the Grand Tribulation with difficulty, she flew out of the immortal Gu house through a hole that had formed on top. Boom! She self-detonated instantly, turning into a lump of pitch-black flames, burning intensely with a terrifying aura. Heaven seemed to be enraged. At once, billions of purple stars shot down. The black flame was not large, but was incomparably tough when faced with the attack of the purple stars. Although its size was shrinking, the extent of its loss was minuscule. Seeing that this grand tribulation was ineffective, the black clouds in the sky transformed again, countless lightning bolts rained down like snakes, the black flame was instantly assaulted by countless bolts. The black flame seemed to be nourished from this, it quickly expanded and grew to a mountain-like size. The black flame's appearance had changed already, it became a white-gold-colored mist. The grand tribulation in the sky continued to transform and attack the white-gold mist. The mist also transformed, turning into wind, or flower, grass, bird, or beast at times. What in the world is lurking in this female immortal's body? So many grand tribulations are unable to do anything to it. Wu Shuai was internally shook. He acutely sensed that this realistic dream realm contained a certain deep secret in history. This secret might be the reason behind the deaths of venerables, it involved the most profound secret of heaven and earth. The female immortal died, but Wu Shuai's dream realm continued. He had to survive from the aftermath of this terrifying fight, he could only rely on peaceful soil heavy mountain fortress. Eventually, after countless rounds of grand tribulations, that mysterious black flame was slowly extinguished bit by bit. Even when just a tiny bit was left, the grand tribulation still targeted it and the battle lasted for over an hour. What in the world is this thing? After the dream realm dissipated, Wu Shuai was still filled with deep shock. He had put in so much effort, the rewards were similarly shocking. At almost the same time as when the dream realm faded, the eyes of Fang Yuan's main body, which was in Dragon Whale Paradise, shined. Oh, I advanced to Earth Path Grandmaster. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1899, Large-Sized Missions. 1899 Large-Sized Missions. Sea Island, Golden Jade House. What is the purpose of inviting us here, little girl? Quickly tell us, I've got things to do. That's right, this is the only time each year that the sea market opens. We are wasting our time and money by being delayed here. Many Gu masters gathered in Golden Jade House, staring at the blue-scaled mermaid girl, Xia Lin, and spoke. They were already a bit impatient from waiting. Xia Lin looked around with a slight smile, everyone here is a respectable figure, so I'll make it short. From now on, this island is my territory and under my control. If you all want to come here and make transactions, I'd welcome you with open arms, but you need to pay taxes, and you can't stay on the island for a long time. As for the way to stay and live here for a long time, that is to join me and become my subordinate. There was a sudden silence in the house. Immediately, the Gu masters went into an uproar. Was this a joke? The few rank 3 Gu master leaders all looked unhappy. Little girl, you're too bold. Juniors these days, they really don't know what fear is. Do you really think you can act so arrogantly after killing a rank 3 Gu master? Don't forget, you are just a rank 2 Gu master. Faced with many questions, Xia Lin felt apprehensive, but remembering that this was Master Chu's order, she could only force a smile as she answered as instructed, no need to doubt my words, now, you will know what I am relying on. What is it? Immediately, someone asked. Xia Lin was still smiling, because even if she said so, she had no idea what it was. But at that moment, the ground began to shake. What's going on? Someone screamed as the ground shook more and more. Is it an earthquake? The Gu masters were in a state of shock and panic. Fortunately, this Golden Jade House was a Gu house and had some defensive effects. But the outside world was already in chaos, with screams and shouts everywhere. No, I need to rush back to guard my shop. I'm leaving too. The Gu masters tried to run out, but suddenly, a thick yellow light suddenly emerged from the ground. The yellow light enveloped the entire island and blocked the entrance of the Gu house. No matter what they tried, the Gu masters could not break through the yellow light and were horrified. What in the world is going on? This is no ordinary earthquake. Xia Lin. You must know something. Someone saw that Xia Lin was still smiling. He had a flash of inspiration and screamed loudly. As a result, all the Gu masters in the room focused their attention on Xia Lin. Xia Lin was also shocked, but at this moment, Fang Yuan's voice was transmitted, instructing her on how to deal with the situation. Everyone, there is no need to panic, this change is only beneficial for everyone. I will not say more, just watch it quietly, this change will not last long. Xia Lin was keeping this a secret, but the Gu masters did not dare to look down on her. This was clearly not a natural disaster but a man-made situation. But who could do something of this magnitude? Not mortals at least. A word suddenly emerged in the minds of all the Gu masters: immortal. This was indeed a method of an immortal. Or more accurately, Fang Yuan was repairing the immortal formation at the bottom of the sea. He took out portions of immortal materials from his immortal aperture and put them into the formation, before activating many killer moves to repair it. Yellow light surged around the island, spreading around. A brand new piece of land around the island condensed and appeared in the yellow light. Those ships that were originally around the edge of the island ran aground. The people on the boats were shouting and screaming, fixed in place by the yellow light, unable to move. The yellow light gradually dissipated, the entire island had more than doubled in size. At the edge of the new sea island, tides surged up, causing huge waves, countless fish and sea beasts revealed themselves. Fang Yuan had started to fix the water path aspect after repairing the earth path side of the formation. Finally, when he had completely mended the immortal formation, the huge waves on the surface of the sea gradually calmed down. However, Fang Yuan did not stop yet. He added a small subsidiary immortal formation on top of the foundation of this great formation. After the small formation was built, he waved his hand again and gave the small formation to Xia Lin. Thus, a white light descended from the sky and enveloped Xia Lin, before it merged entirely into Xia Lin's body. Xia Lin did not have any attainment in formation path, but this small formation designed by Fang Yuan was very friendly. Xia Lin suddenly felt that she had many new abilities instinctively. This instinct was as natural as breathing, or like moving legs and feet. It allowed her to move the island's land and the surrounding seawater using her thoughts. Rumble. Amidst muffled sounds, the entirety of Golden Jade House began to expand, growing larger and larger, quickly transforming from a small building to a beautifully ornate palace. This was naturally also Fang Yuan's doing. He had expanded Golden Jade House and created a formation core here, which was secretly connected to the formation deep under the sea. This series of astonishing changes made the entire crowd of Gu masters gawk and stand dumbfounded. Xia Lin was showing a smile, but she was also immensely shocked internally. Fang Yuan's words rang in her ears once again. She read out the script: "Everyone, you witnessed it with your own eyes. I am fortunate to be accepted as a disciple of the great immortal. My immortal master has just laid out the immortal formation and ordered me to guard this place. I will be in charge of mortal affairs." Saying so, Xia Lin willed as yellow light surged up, enveloping all of the Gu masters present. Xia Lin willed again as these Gu masters gasped in shock. They were suppressed by this yellow light and could not move. They were all raised into the air, unable to retaliate. Xia Lin smiled, the yellow light dissipated and these Gu masters were released. This. Immortal miracle, this is an immortal miracle. So there really are immortals in the world. I reverently ask Lady Xia Lin, why did your immortal master set up an immortal formation here? I wonder what Lord Immortal has planned. Xia Lin just smiled. She had also just learned that Master Chu was actually an immortal. Her shock was no less than the others. Now, does everyone have anything you wish to say about my previous proposal? Xia Lin looked around and asked in a warm voice once again. The Gu masters did not dare to question her again, they bowed their heads together, some even fell to their knees on the spot, saying that they wanted to follow Xia Lin, while some wanted to go under Fang Yuan as his disciple. Xia Lin could only appease them one by one. Fang Yuan's divine sense went around Xia Lin. In the end, he only said a few words of advice to her before he left her to her own devices. Although there were signs of immortals in Dragon Whale Paradise, be it his previous life or present life, Fang Yuan had never seen any native immortals. Legends about immortals had been circulating within the mortal world, but they were only rumors. This time, Fang Yuan displayed an immortal miracle and set up the immortal formation, leaving many things within the formation to Xia Lin. Soon, countless people arrived after hearing the news, some of them wanted to see the miracle, while others simply wanted to join Xia Lin as a subordinate. In the previous life, Fang Yuan helped Xia Lin become the mermaid saintess. In this life, he had simply made an early move to support the growth of Xia Lin's forces first. In the following period of time, Xia Lin would maneuver between various forces and Gu master experts. She would follow Fang Yuan's instructions to establish her own force. Even if there were things she could not do right, there was still a will left behind by Fang Yuan within the formation to tutor her and help her to make up for any flaws. His investment in Xia Lin was actually not even a drop in a bucket. Repairing the underwater formation was the most costly thing that Fang Yuan did. Fang Yuan's earth path attainment level rose, his weakness was eliminated as he rapidly found a useful method to fix this formation. He had Grandmaster formation path attainment level, he could not use natural Dao marks, he had to use immortal materials. The immortal materials that he expended here were his greatest spending. Not only was the difficulty of a mid-sized mission higher, the Gu immortal also had to make investments sometimes. Merit points were not so easy to earn. Fang Yuan returned to the merit obelisk. This mission gave him 100 merit points, this was the limit of a mid-sized mission, his action of repairing the formation was perfect. Thus, he became the undeniable number one person on the merit board. The gain of 100 points made everyone else feel a strong sense of dejection. This time, Fang Yuan did not leave in a hurry. He started to research on the merit board. His earth path attainment rose to Grandmaster level. Could he comprehend this immortal Gu house? If he could comprehend it and use some methods, would he be able to make loopholes in the merit obelisk and refine this entire immortal Gu house? Earlier, Fang Yuan could not do it and had to follow the rules. But all along, he had not given up on the idea of getting this merit obelisk. After looking at it for some time, deep disappointment flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. The merit obelisk contained the profundity of earth path, but also sound path, human path, and heaven path. And looking at the foundation, earth path and sound path were just supplementary, the true cores were human path and heaven path. To have hopes of comprehending this completely, I will need to be a great grandmaster in all four paths. Fang Yuan realized this and smiled bitterly to himself. It was unrealistic to try to refine this merit obelisk now. That was only natural. Before Fang Yuan, who knows how many Gu immortals had come here. Among these predecessors, there were definitely outstanding people, but they were unable to do anything to this rank 8 immortal Gu house. Fang Yuan's foundation in this aspect was not deep, how could he possibly refine this rank 8 immortal Gu house easily? There was no breakthrough in this area, so Fang Yuan had no choice but to continue to follow the rules. He continued to receive and complete missions. When he reached 900 merit points, Xianxia finally screamed at the merit obelisk, "I finally found it, this is the one, this good person title." At this moment, Xianxia almost wanted to tear up from joy. He quickly told Shen Cong Sheng about this discovery. Soon, Shen Clan's Gu immortals started to show signs of rising merit points. Followed by Ren Xiuping, Tong Hua and the rest. There were 4 groups on the merit board now. The first group was a single person, Fang Yuan, he was way ahead. The second group was the Shen Clan Gu immortals led by Shen Cong Sheng, they were trying to catch up. The third group was Ren Xiuping and Tong Hua, as they were attached to Shen Clan, they had been informed of this secret after some time. And the last group was Miao Ming Shen and the others. They had not learned about this. After completing another mission, Fang Yuan's merit points rose to over 1,000. He looked at the merit board, laughing in his mind. They finally found the good person title. These people are truly unlucky. Maybe this is the result of my luck suppressing them. He came to the board and started exchanging for a reward. He spent 1,000 merit points in exchange for the really good person title. With this title, he could finally accept large-sized missions. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1900, Super Good Person. 1900 Super Good Person. Beehive Island was a sea island that had a peculiar shape. The entire island resembled a voluminous dark yellow beehive, with countless pits and holes on the surface of the hive, and a precise structure and countless tunnels inside. A rank 6 Gu immortal with broad shoulders and a thin waist, wearing jade green battle armor, was inside the beehive. This man was one of the followers of Miao Ming Shen, Feng Jiang. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. The densely grouped red thread earthworms were shooting violently at Feng Jiang from all directions. The red thread earthworms could shoot themselves out like the flicking of a zither, so fast that Feng Jiang could only see a red light. The attack of the red thread earthworms was very sharp, and the swarms of red thread earthworms were able to make desolate beasts back away from them. Feng Jiang fought as he retreated. He was facing immense pressure. After a while, he was already covered in sweat. Even though his battle strength surpassed desolate beasts and he had many killer moves, he received this mission to quell the red thread earthworm calamity near the Beehive Island, to allow its ecology to return to normal. If Feng Jiang used his methods without holding back and unleashed his attacks, he could easily kill all of these red thread earthworms. But in that case, Beehive Island would be heavily damaged. Feng Jiang would receive few merit points. Damn it! Feng Jiang had no choice but to retreat and fly out of the hive, floating in the sky. The red thread earthworms were still in hot pursuit, shooting themselves into the sky and pursuing Feng Jiang. From countless holes, large amounts of red threads were shot out. Feng Jiang sighed and pulled away from the hive. These red thread earthworms could not hit their target. The red thread earthworms did not die from a fall of this height. Their bodies were soft but tough. After they loitered around for some time, they went back into the hive again. They did not follow the existing holes within the hive, but dug their own way through the hive's walls. This was very damaging to Beehive Island. There are too many red thread earthworms, and I'm afraid there are still desolate beasts inside. After all, I'm taking on a mid-sized mission. There is one more difficulty. The more the passage inside this hive extends inside, the narrower it becomes. It is very disadvantageous to me. Beehive Island was already covered in holes due to the red thread earthworms. If Feng Jiang fought inside, he might cause the destruction of the entire island. Feng Jiang was silent for a moment before making up his mind. He opened his immortal aperture's entrance as he summoned a large group of wild bees. These bees were all elites that had rank 5 battle strength. Their leader was even more powerful. It was a desolate beast bee. The abdomen of this wild bee was of peculiar form, being gyroscopic instead of ellipsoidal. It was most broad at the waist, extending out to the tail while becoming increasingly thinner. The surface of the gyroscopic belly had a black spiral pattern that was quite striking. All the wild bees were covered with dense fluffy hair and had large, broad wings. This was the yellow Yero bee. Feng Jiang's immortal aperture raised a large number of bees. Yellow Yero bee was one of them with a unique status. Even though ordinary bees formed into groups, they consisted of members from the same species. Different ones could not live together. But not only could yellow Yero bees live with other wild bees, they could reproduce and even help to increase the numbers of the other species of bees. The yellow Yero bees were the core bee group of Feng Jiang's immortal aperture. Feng Jiang was an Eastern Sea Gu immortal. He was rich in cultivation resources, keeping a variety of bees in his immortal aperture and having more than 10 desolate beast wild bees. The yellow Yero bees had always been his main focus, but there were only 3 of them that were desolate beast level. This time, Feng Jiang mobilized a large group of yellow Euro bees. He was taking a huge risk in this situation. Under the command of Feng Jiang, the yellow Euro bees buzzed as if they were a yellow cloud that quickly burrowed into the hive. There were still swarms of bees in Beehive Island, but they were completely at a disadvantage compared to the red thread earthworms in terms of size. With the help of the yellow Euro bees, the bee group was confused for a moment before retaliating against the red thread earthworms entrenched in the lower part of the Beehive Island with a fierce attack. This was a fight for survival between their respective groups. It was a tragic battle. Beehive Island continued to shake as cracks appeared on its surface, rapidly expanding in size. Feng Jiang was prepared to take action. He immediately used methods to repair the island. He let his bee group fight while he took on a support role. He was quite lucky. When the red thread earthworms lost enough numbers, the sole desolate beast red thread earthworm retreated instead of fighting, leading its members away from the beehive. Feng Jiang looked as millions of red thread earthworms gathered in the sea like a huge red current, swimming away. He sighed as the weight in his heart was lifted. He hesitated for a moment. Should he chase after the red thread earthworms or ignore them now? While he hesitated, the red thread earthworms swam into the sea. Feng Jiang gave up the thought of chasing them. If he fought in the sea, he would have to give it his all, but there were many different sea beasts hidden within this sea area. I should not cause more uncertainty. Let's repair this Beehive Island first. He spent a day and night repairing it. Not only did he repair Beehive Island completely, he even reinforced many of its weaknesses. At the same time, he let out many bees in his immortal aperture and planted many special flowers to complete the ecology of this place. After all this, Beehive Island became completely revitalized. Not only did it regain balance, it even had more potential for future development. This is a mid-sized resource point now. Feng Jiang sighed. If possible, he wanted to take this Beehive Island for himself. But this was a merit mission. He was restricted by Paradise Earth. Feng Jiang had to give up on that idea. After returning to the merit obelisk, Feng Jiang looked at his merit points and found that he gained over 80 points from this mission. Feng Jiang stared blankly before regretting it. I did not get 100 points. It seems that my actions were not perfect. Back then, I should have eliminated the red thread earthworms. Letting them leave means that they are likely to attack Beehive Island again. That might not be it. The mission wanted me to balance the ecology of Beehive Island. Did I achieve that? I did not. This so-called ecology's core was Beehive Island, but the surrounding sea areas are also a part of it. I only modified Beehive Island but did not target the surrounding sea areas. That was my mistake. Thinking so, Feng Jiang sighed. A few days ago, after Fang Yuan returned to the merit obelisk, he saw the board and understood the situation. He explained the secret of the good person title to Miao Ming Shen and his allies. Thus, Feng Jiang exchanged for the good person title and could receive mid-sized missions. Now, he completed his first mid-sized mission, but he was not happy at all. Not only was it because he did not understand the mission's requirements fully, he had also spent a lot for this mission. In order to get the merit points, his yellow Euro bees could not be retrieved. Of course, this exchange was not unfavorable. Merit points were related to Paradise Earth's true inheritance. Feng Jiang gave up his bee group but gained points that could be exchanged for immortal Gu if he had 10,000 or more. This trade was definitely worth it. Because in the outside world, Feng Jiang did not have any way to get these immortal Gu. No matter how many desolate beast bees he had, he could not exchange for an immortal Gu using them. But mid-sized missions are quite tough. I am specialized in raising bees. This mission suited me well, but I only got around 80 merit points. What about other missions? Feng Jiang looked at the board. Many missions were listed, but he could not take them. For example, the mission to repair an immortal formation. Feng Jiang did not have any methods to repair immortal formations. Or the one that required the healing of an ancient desolate beast's injuries. Feng Jiang's healing methods were not good enough. Feng Jiang suddenly understood why Fang Yuan kept this good person title as a secret. As long as he had a head start, Fang Yuan could choose missions that suited him. He could accumulate merit points rapidly. But Feng Jiang thought about it and felt something strange. No, even so, Chu Ying's merit points are rising too quickly. He is almost perfectly completing every mission. Is transformation path really this useful? At this moment, Feng Jiang was stunned. Because white light flashed as Fang Yuan appeared beside him. Lord Chu Ying. Feng Jiang greeted. Fang Yuan nodded at him, his gaze was directed at the obelisk. His merit points went from the bottom position and surpassed everyone to reach the top 3 again. He gained 500 merit points at once. Feng Jiang saw this as his heart shook. I spent 1,000 merit points to get the really good person title, it allowed me to receive even better missions. Fang Yuan smiled and explained. Feng Jiang was stunned before bowing deeply. Lord, thank you for the guidance. Fang Yuan nodded as he went to the other side of the obelisk, exchanging for his 3rd title, Super Good Person. His merit points instantly fell by 500, becoming the last position again. Feng Jiang opened his mouth. He was curious about Fang Yuan's action, but he was astute. He did not ask when he saw that Fang Yuan was not going to talk about it. Feng Jiang was certain that Fang Yuan had exchanged for something extremely useful. Looking at the time, they should be back already. Fang Yuan walked towards Feng Jiang. He did not receive a mission immediately. Feng Jiang nodded. He knew that Fang Yuan was referring to Miao Mingshen and others. He replied, they should be here soon. Feng Jiang did not have outstanding strength among Miao Mingshen's allies, yet he had already returned. The others were soon to arrive as well. Fang Yuan did not mind the wait. As expected, Miao Mingshen and the rest returned quickly. They met with Fang Yuan. Feng Jiang quickly told the secret of the really good person title to Miao Mingshen and others. Miao Mingshen had a thought. This title of good person can exchange for mid-sized missions, while really good person can exchange for large-sized missions. This is a series of titles. If one can find out about the good person title, the really good person title is no secret as well, they can easily connect the dots. But even so, Miao Mingshen felt very grateful to Fang Yuan. Because Fang Yuan had told them about the good person title. Meanwhile, Shen Clan and Ren Xiaoping kept it from them. The ranking on the merit board was very important. Many rewards could only be exchanged once. The first person to get them would be the sole beneficiary. Brother Miao, you do not need to fear Shen Cong Sheng. I have a way to get far away from Shen Cong Sheng when we teleport outside. The distance is enough for us to stay safe. Fang Yuan lied, but Miao Mingshen and the rest felt deeply shocked. Gue Qiye's brows rose. It is a reward on the merit obelisk. Indeed. Fang Yuan nodded, but he had no idea if that existed. Miao Mingshen and the rest could not help but believe him. Why? Because Chu Ying's attitude toward Shen Cong Sheng was simply courting death. The fact that he remained so fearless meant that he had some sort of assurance. Fang Yuan continued, I can receive large-sized missions, but I cannot complete them alone. I need all of your help. Saying so, he received the large-sized mission on the obelisk and shared the details with Miao Mingshen and others. Miao Mingshen and the rest felt shocked. After receiving information of the mission, their expressions changed. He could actually do that. The truth was, Miao Mingshen had discovered this secret personally in the previous life. The super good person title allowed one to share missions. For Gu immortals, mid-sized missions were difficult to do alone. Having other people's help made it easier. Even though they would share the merit points, if their efficiency at solving missions increased, the benefits far outweighed the costs. Miao Mingshen could choose to accept it or not. Fang Yuan could share missions, but he could not force them to take it. Miao Mingshen only thought about it for a while before accepting the mission. He had just completed a mid-sized mission. He had the same feelings as Feng Jiang. Fang Yuan had an easy time because he cultivated every path. Miao Mingshen and the rest were ordinary Gu immortals. They cultivated one path and most of the time, only certain missions suited them. Since completing mid-sized missions was not easy, and they had to put in a lot of investment, Miao Mingshen was more willing to work with Fang Yuan and attempt something new. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible.